To put it simply, we are a charity, a nonprofit 5.
In the Reagan room, as work is being done up on the rooftop of our government building. We will also this afternoon have an in-person session to talk about this, actually to listen to the community about the rezoning definitions and their ideas when it comes to residential. And then this evening at 7 p.m. we will do a virtual session with the same topic. The intent here is to ensure that we're reaching out to as much of the community as we can on a very, very important topic dealing with residential zoning. Before we start all sessions, let's please take a moment, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And next step, what we do is, as always, priority Carol. Let's start from my right, the viewer's left. Commissioner Frazier, what do you have to say?
Thank you. Had a local management board meeting. And I'm now, it's my second meeting with them, so I'm getting a good idea now what we're doing here. All the nonprofits are there to talk about what they're doing, try to help out the community. We had updates from nonprofits. And I can say things are recovering from COVID, let's put it that way. Things are moving forward, which is very, very positive. Also, I did not realize until last meeting that we had a student rep on the board, because the student rep called in from Westminster High School where she was in class and talked a little bit, which was very interesting. She spoke very, very well. And one of the things that student reps are looking for, not just her, but other student reps around the, I guess, the state, are looking to ensure, actually, I think they would put legislation in to ensure that the student reps on the Board of Eds all have a voting role, that their vote means as much as the other people on the Board of Ed. Not a bad idea. So they're going to go forward with that. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see if someone picks it up and puts it in legislation for the state, and that, because that's what they're looking for. It's about all I have, except I can't believe we're still talking about this, but the COVID numbers are kind of edging up again. And with winter coming, they're expecting to go a little bit higher. I'm tired of this. I hope everyone else is too. Get vaccinated, get your booster shots, get whatever you need to get whatever you need to get there. It's necessary. It's just, I just don't want to go backwards, but we are sliding a little bit backwards with this. So let's be vigilant on this social distancing. And if you don't wish to be vaccinated, that's fine, but then wear a mask, don't go out in public as often, stay away from large groups, help other people out. That's all. Thank you.
That's all. That's all.
It's easy.
Commissioner Wentz.
It's not as easy as what it sounds.
No.
So I'm going to try to get through as much of this as I can rapidly here. I've had an incredibly busy week. First of all, today I will be leaving as soon as I can to represent Carroll County at the MACO, Maryland Association of Counties board retreat. I'll be traveling to Baltimore City and representing for the next 2 days. So for those that are wondering, I will watch tonight's session, but I won't physically be on, if you will. I'll watch it as soon as I can. I had the opportunity to tour Exploration Commons. I know you guys have all done that as well. But I kept canceling because of my schedule, and I'm kind of glad I did, because when I first saw it, they hadn't done a thing. And when I toured it yesterday morning, it is near finished, and it is unbelievable what they have transformed that basement into. And the outreach that's going to be created as a result of utilizing that space to the partners with the library system is going to be priceless. So enough said about that, other than the kitchen is ridiculous. I stood there with my mouth open. So
I don't want to I hope I'm not telling something I shouldn't say, but
Right.
I believe there's a ribbon cutting coming up on.
there is
Okay.
December 17th. Nice, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't want to.
Yeah, December 17th. I don't know what time yet. I don't know that they've got that zeroed in, but that's when they're going to have the ribbon cutting. And again, it is just the library has done incredibly well, and it's going to be an awesome space for everybody to use. So congratulations to them. All of you will see more of that as we roll along. Also attended planning and zoning. That was a relatively short meeting, as the planning and zoning goes. The new folks, the new chairman of our planning and zoning board is Jeff Werther, who will do very well, and the co-chair is Janice Kirkner. Not a whole lot of choice there because we're losing folks on P and Z. So again, I put out my commercial for those folks that are interested in serving on our boards and commissions. Please go on our website. There's an application on there. You can choose what board or commission you'd be interested in, and we would welcome the opportunity for folks to be able to serve in the county, and perhaps do a lot less complaining if you get involved. Wouldn't that be something? Anyway, so that's good. 2 fires recently that occurred in my district. One was in a commercial facility in the downtown Tyrone area. I know, downtown Tyrone. Compressor maintenance business. Those guys are going to be closed for a while. They're a very small business, but they do a lot of work in the county and beyond. So reaching out to them about that, and there's as a result of that fire, there was an issue brought up about something else, which I will bring up in open. ESAC last night I attended, Emergency Services Advisory Committee. We continue to move forward here in the county to create the best combination system that we can, and you attended last month, Ed, and I walked out of there a little after 10 last night, so it was a really lively meeting, and you'll hear more about what's going on this Sunday under the direction of our new director, Mike Robinson. They're having their strategic planning workshop. He's brought a gentleman in from the National Fire Academy to run it. They've brought in a lot of people from across the county, so that will be occurring on Sunday. So that's that. I attended the Carroll Community College board meeting as well, and we have a lot to be proud of over there. We were in attendance to declare November 17th, which was yesterday, Carroll Community College Day. As a result of that, they gave out ice cream to all the students, but kudos to what's going on over there. One of the big fundraisers for the Community College Foundation is coming up on December the 3rd, and that's Starry Night. So I'll be attending that as well, and that's always a great event. I also attended, I've lost track. I've been to so many places here. The Commission on Aging and Disabilities. Attended that meeting. Told you I was busy. The biggest thing coming out of that was not only are they moving forward with a lot of things, but the senior centers are now up to about 60% capacity, which is good. We're moving forward there. But again, very cautious because this ain't over, as Dennis so politely. I put it differently. It ain't over. So I'm encouraging folks to still do what they feel is right in order to get us through this, because I'm sick and tired of it too. So that's that.
And there pops up one of our pretty senior centers.
Senior center.
Oh, yeah, okay.
As
Thanks.
I said, there pops up one of our pretty senior centers.
Oh, yeah. So Jim McCarron was again selected to be the chairman of that group. So that is moving on. So kudos to them. My calendar's wrecked. One thing that came out of planning and zoning, and it reminds me because our director of planning is here, I suggested that we change the inclement weather policy. Interestingly enough, it said it's based on Carroll County Public Schools, whether or not they're closed or not, which I find to be challenging. I believe it should be what Carroll County government does, because there are many days, or there are some days when schools are closed and people go, huh? And we're open.
Right.
And I said that with all due respect to the fabulous group of people that meet at ODark 30 to make the decision on what the county's going to do with our offices. So Linda agreed, nicely done. And we're gonna change.
She wasn't born yesterday.
Yeah, we're gonna change and the rest of planning and zoning agreed as well. So we're gonna change that so that it goes underneath of county government, the direction that we do, which is another commercial that I wanted to say here, and then I'm gonna shut up because the rest of the stuff I have I'll do an open. Go on our website, please, if you haven't done so already, and sign up for Carroll Connect. Carroll Connect is an easy way to find out what's happening in county government, what's happening with inclement weather, and for no other reason, you visit our website. But that gives you the ability to get emails from the government, and also it goes on your phone. So miraculously, there is Carroll Connect on our website. That's where you go. You can click on that and sign up and be more in touch with county government. I think that's it. Surprise! I got a bunch more stuff, but I'm going to do it under open admin.
So you're saying this is not just a Tuesday and Thursday commitment in
Well,
your schedule?
Yeah, I left yesterday at 0700 and
Okay.
returned to my residence at 2300 last night, and that was a Wednesday.
Yep, I understand.
Just saying.
I had a board meeting yesterday as well, with the
So,
clients,
yep.
but,
So
okay.
yeah, it's not. It says part-time job on the thing.
Yeah.
This commissioner. So anyway, thank you.
Commissioner Weaver.
Okay, first of all, Sunday had an Eagle Scout, Tommy Smith, over in the Hampstead area. He is the 10th member of that family to attain Eagle Scout.
Wow.
And there's an 11th in the wing. The Smith family has a long history of a lot of dedication to scouting. Drug treatment court last week. Several of us attended that, and that was interesting. Judge Hecker does a tremendous job of helping people as an alternative to incarceration, going through drug treatment court, and I was really impressed by the one gentleman who said, "You saved my life," and he was really totally sincere about that.
And he said he was very happy he was arrested in Carroll County.
Yes, Carroll County gave him the opportunity for drug treatment court,
So,
where
yeah.
that may not have happened otherwise.
And,
That's a very good point.
It was very interesting because he was sincere, we got a chuckle out of it, but then a couple others said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's because of Judge Hecker and the team, so I just wanted to throw that in, apologize.
Yeah. And Recreation and Parks had their 50-year celebration this year, and their volunteer program was November the 9th, Tuesday last week, and
Yep.
fantastic program. Jeff Daggett did it, and staff. So when I say staff, Jeff gets the credit, staff did the work, put it together very well. Last Thursday, I guess I had the chance to attend Judge Kara Lewis's investiture at North Carroll High School, the old North Carroll High School, and she is a very young member of the district court, highly capable young lady, and she is going to do a fantastic job. That place was packed. I think Eric, you were there too, Dennis, but did a beautiful job of putting investiture together. We also had a joint meeting with Carroll Community College, whatever day that was, yesterday, day before, anyway, and that was a great meeting between, the college gets to explain exactly what they're doing and what's happening. Chris, do we have a picture of the other Tuesday night? If we do. In the meantime, yes, we had Boy Scout troop here, sitting right here where you guys are at the present time. And we brought in the troop, it was in the evening here, and they got to sit here and I got to be the audience and ask the question, and answer the questions that they asked. Believe me, they had some tough questions for Boy Scout troops, so there was the chairman of the group running things where you are sitting, Ed, so they did a great job of asking questions on that, so.
Future commissioners up there.
Yeah, future leaders here, they were earning their government badge or whatever the term is, proper term for that, but I gave them a lot of credit for coming in, asking good questions, and doing a great job. And lastly, our assistant upstairs, Vivian Daly, has been, she's very artistic compared to the rest of us. And I've been collecting ribbons for the last several years. Every ribbon cutting we have, I take a section of ribbon, have everybody sign it's there. She put together a wreath made with all these ribbons and put it in the Festival of Wreaths at the Carroll Arts Center. I hope the Chamber of Commerce is going to have to bid on this heavily this year, but I give Vivian a lot of credit. That's November 19th to December 21st. They have the Gallery of Gifts there. I'm not sure exactly when I think they put a silent auction, if I remember right, on that.
Yeah.
But Vivian did put the wreath together from Carroll
Is there a
County.
picture? Do you have a
A
picture?
picture of the wreath?
No, I don't, not yet. I haven't been over there. She just had to enter it, and I don't think it's open till the 19th. But
Oh.
we'll make
We'll get a picture.
little
That's a
picture of
good
that a
point.
little later. But I want to thank Vivian. That was above and beyond just a lot of work that she needed to do. And one thing here, before we get Commissioner Boucher with his Hogs and Heroes Day, some people in the audience I haven't seen for a while, they didn't recognize him now, Fit, but a couple North Carroll people over there, and thank you guys for what you do.
Okay, Commissioner Boucher, why don't you, starting, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you all come on up to the table?
All right, well, while they're coming up, I want to piggyback on what Commissioner Weaver said about the investiture of Judge Kira Lewis. This is a historical moment in the judiciary of Carroll County. We have a 100% female district court bench in Carroll County, and that has never happened before. So big kudos out there to our bench and the wonderful job they do. Before I move on with you guys, I want to cover a couple things. Mr. Swam has brought up a view of it's the Workforce Development Building now. I believe we voted on it. They have, in that old school building, air conditioner window units, which are extremely ineffective, gobble up a lot of electricity, and are not very efficient. So part of what we've decided was go out and upgrade the HVA systems of not only the Workforce Development Center, but there is Bureau Chief Justin McDonald up on the roof of an Avapco unit, which is manufactured in Commissioner Wance's district, a major employer in Carroll County. And this is a view of some of the HVAC systems within the courthouse. This is a tremendous investment by our taxpayers' money, and I want to make sure that people see what airmen and women behind the scenes are doing to upgrade and modernize their facilities to save us ultimately in their energy costs, which seems to be spiking. Mr. Swam, is that it for the photos on the HVAC system? All right, well, thank you. And I really quickly want to read off new hirees to the county government. I enjoy doing this, and welcome these individuals aboard as county employees. Robert Kleckner, Emergency Communications Specialist. Zachary Ruth, Emergency Communications Specialist. Edwin Singer, Watershed Management Coordinator. Nathan Capel, Ground Maintenance Worker. Emma Sparks, Housing Stability Coordinator. Natalie Martin, Cook Assistant in Rec and Parks. Samantha Steele Cromwell, Record Unit Technician for the Sheriff's Department. Phil Sexton, Bailiff at the Circuit Court. Wayne Wendell, Landfill Equipment Operator. Jenna Mealy, Park Naturalist. Brandon Guttanek, I'm sorry if I'm slaughtering your name, Paid Work Experience Coordinator over at the Workforce Development Facility. And Taylor Ramhaney, Deputy Sheriff. Welcome aboard, and we're glad you joined the team. Now I'd like to move on to our distinguished guests here this morning. It looks like we've been invaded by bikers. What a wonderful group of people here. And there's a reason I brought these individuals forward. They help do ceremonies for fallen veterans, soldiers, EMS, law enforcement. Most of them, I think all the membership of this organization belongs to any one of those groups. They have served, they've retired, or are presently in employment with law enforcement. I believe we have here as the leader, retired Major Hamrick from law enforcement. I want to very quickly read off this proclamation and then have each one of you introduce yourself and say a few words about exactly what you do and how important this is. And I believe Commissioner Wance has done some work with you all in the past because he is a retired firefighter and he realizes the importance and value of what you do, and I'm honored to read this proclamation on behalf of my colleagues. Proclamation, Hogs and Heroes Day. Whereas Maryland Chapter 6 of the Hogs and Heroes Foundation of America is celebrating its 10th anniversary on Sunday, November 21st, 2021. And the Hogs and Heroes Foundation is a charitable 501c3 nonprofit organization composed of motorcycle owners in support of veterans, families of fallen military members, and first responders. And the Hogs and Heroes Foundation performs honor missions for fallen police officers, firefighters, emergency medical workers, and United States military members killed in combat, and veterans. And the Board of County Commissioners appreciate Hogs and Heroes Foundations for its altruistic endeavors and its example of good citizenship. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Carroll County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim November 21st, 2021 as Hogs and Heroes Day, adopted this 18th day in November 2021, signed by all 5 of us commissioners of Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The floor is yours, sir.
Well, good morning. I'm Jim Hamrick. I'm the president of Maryland Chapter 6, and I'll introduce myself a little bit more fully because we've got some individuals that have indicated they would defer to me in introductions. All the way to my right, your left, is Scott Dixon. He is my vice president. He's retired Baltimore City Police. His better half is Michelle Dixon. They just got married back in May and April, I'm sorry, and live here in the county. Michelle got promoted out of our chapter. She's actually in our national board as an administrator. This is my better half of 34 and a half years, Pamela Hamrick, and my son, Eric, who is my senior sergeant of arms for the chapter, but he also is employed as a Howard County police officer. So he happens to be on his day off. And so it's quite an honor. And in terms of just a real brief history about how I ended up here in Carroll County, because I actually live in Thurmont. And one of the other things I do is I serve as chaplain of the Guardian Hose Company there. But I know I've met a couple of you because when I retired with University of Maryland Police in College Park back at the end of 2010, Chuck Rapp, who was at that time the executive director of the Maryland Police and Correctional Training Commissions, hired me as his chief administrative officer, director of support services. So I served there for 4.5 years before I was recruited to come to McDaniel College to be the chief director of campus safety, where I served a little over 3 years. But during my time at the training commissions, I was introduced to the Hogs and Heroes actually at a COPS Survivor Weekend in Ocean City, Maryland, that they do each year for family members of police officers who have died in the line of duty. And I was so impressed. I ride a motorcycle recreationally, and I was so impressed with that I ended up joining and started a chapter recruiting mostly members there at the training commissions in Sykesville. And that was in November of 2011. And so we met there for a while. During my time at McDaniel, we moved up to Westminster, where we thought that we'd have a greater population center and draw. For the last several years, we've met at the Carroll County FOP Lodge 20. And so we've been very grateful for their hosting of us. We meet monthly, usually the fourth Sunday of the month, Sunday in the afternoon. But we decided that we wanted to be even more connected and integrated with the Westminster community. And so Scott, Michelle, myself, last month met with the commandery of the Westminster American Legion and Carroll Post 31. And so we are excited that not only do we get the approval to make that our new home, but they're very excited about partnering with us. The Carroll Post 31 Legion Riders, we feel will provide opportunities, particularly where we have common missions, to be able to mass our forces, people, if you will, especially in our charitable outreach. Some of the things recently, just to give you an idea, we were represented a flag line plus a memorial ride for fallen Battalion Chief Joshua Laird in Frederick County, who died in the line of duty back in August. Coming up here next month, we will be working with Wreaths Across America at the Meadow Branch Cemetery on December 18th. We'll be laying almost 500 wreaths that day for all the veterans in that cemetery there on the west end of Westminster. And so it's just a thumbnail sketch of some of the things we do. We consider ourselves patriots in the sense that we love God, country, family, community. And in the tide of things that have been very concerning in terms of the direction of our country politically, we feel that not only do we provide that moral support to the people that are on the front lines protecting us, whether that's U.S. military or our first responders, we are not the ones crying out defund the police, but we're there standing with them. It's not a requirement that you're first responder to be a part of our membership, but many of us are either active or retired. And so anyways, that's a little bit about us, and I certainly would open up to any questions. And once again, on behalf of our chapter, we are just so honored to have this. And Commissioner Boucher, by the way, was patched in as one of our members last year after he led a couple of rides for us to Gettysburg and Antietam battlefields. And so thank you so much.
Well, I thank you, Major Hammer. Mr. Swam, do we have anything to show in a audio or a video or a photo of what these individuals do for ceremonies for fallen heroes? I thought we might have had something. If not, here
Yes,
we go.
yeah.
We might see a little to put it in perspective of what they
It's
do.
just a short 2.5 minute video.
I've seen something come up.
Well, to put it simply, we are a charity, a nonprofit 501c3 charity, and we are on a mission. We are a community of motorcycle riders. The mission is to support U.S. military, our veterans, and of course, our first responders. We show our support by raising funds to support local charities that fall within our mission. We support nonprofits that have noble causes, such as the Maryland chapter Concerns of Police Survivors, who this year to date, the Hogs and Heroes Foundation has donated over $20,000. Or foundations like U.S. Kennels, who provide service dogs to veterans with PTSD and other disabilities. This year, the Hogs and Heroes Foundation was able to facilitate the donation of a full pallet of dog food to U.S. Kennels. Our chapters work hard to support the needs within their communities. One example are the Stop the Bleed kits that our Maryland Chapter 8 donated to the Ocean City Beach Patrol. Another example would be, in less than 3 days, Hogs and Heroes were able to rally hundreds of bikers to show community support for the Worcester County Sheriff's Office and the Ocean City Police Department. Hogs and Heroes also provides flag lines, honor guard, and escorts for those who have bravely served our country. With chapters as far as Buffalo, New York, all the way down into Virginia, the Hogs and Heroes Foundation is able to make a positive impact in providing support to those who fall within our mission. So now you know who we are, and now you know what we do. We are the Hogs and Heroes Foundation. Come and ride with us today.
Now I'd like for you all to come forward here for a photo.
Well, bear with us for just 1 second.
Sure.
If there's any comments and thoughts. Dennis, Steve?
Well, I saw you guys, or some of you folks, when I did attend Battalion Chief Laird's funeral, and you are impressive.
Thank you.
And when you're escorting, you are impressive.
Thank you.
Wherever you go, you're impressive. You get my theme here?
I do, sir. Thank you.
So, you know, as a retired career firefighter and still volunteer here in Carroll, all of us across the board when it comes to the first responders incredibly appreciate your efforts. You know, you all could just ride to Ocean City and have a fun time and come back.
Right.
But you go there for a mission, and that's very, very much appreciated. So thank you all for what you do. Very good friend of mine lost his dad in the line of duty. His dad was one of my dearest friends, who was a Howard County police officer. So if you ever run into Garrett Fogel,
I do know him.
yeah, he's a great young man, and I get it because I've been there. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Dick?
Very, as Commissioner Wayne said, very impressive. You guys doing a great job. I wasn't totally aware, but you know, Carroll County has a great police force.
Yes.
Great fire departments. Here, we are just blessed to have the county we have, and your support here is really appreciated. Thank you.
I should add also that I've been longtime friends with Sheriff Jim DeWeese, and
We
in
won't hold
fact,
that against
in fact, yeah, thank you. But I'm actually an adjunct, a volunteer adjunct firearms instructor for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. I maintain my police firearms certification, firearms training certification.
Well, they are respected in Carroll County, and I hope
Yes.
that continues.
Thank you.
When I moved here, 2007, I moved across the street from John Paparazzo, who, Howard County Police, and did a lot of training, known my pappy.
Yes.
And he was a part of this program, you know, and was very proud of this. Now he's retired and he's working over at the agency, but I learned a lot about it from the grassroots, and he would go off on his rides. Being retired after 30-plus years in uniform, I definitely have an appreciation for providing purpose to those that ride, you know, and that's really what this is about, is getting folks back up on their feet, providing purpose, and giving them an honor, an opportunity, and a duty that you give them to join. So I appreciate that. It's not just for those that are fallen, but it's also for those that are participants,
Yes.
because purpose is something that is very hard, you know, when it's lost. And I work very hard on resiliency and building people up, so
Yes.
appreciate all you do for us, for the community, for our neighbors and friends. So early happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thank you, sir.
I think you want, since there's a whole group of you, why don't you get in the front, and
Okay.
we'll be right behind you. Photo op.
Commissioner Rothstein, that was very, very well said.
Okay, the roses between the thorns. Right there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for
guys.
coming out.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
Oh, wait, they want to take their.
Oh, I apologize. Well, no, give the camera to somebody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you when you see the picture.
Don't expect much here.
No selfies. Okay, thanks.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank
Eric?
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you again, we'll see you Sunday.
Padre, you got it. Thank you.
Appreciate you, all you guys do.
Thank you.
So, to close out Priority Carol, it's a challenge because I, like you, Steve, have a ton on my mind.
Top that one.
It's hard, and Veterans Day was last week, and Commissioner Weaver and I attended the Gersdale Academy. We were interviewed by Fox 45 prior, and Commissioner, what's your name? Frazier also attended, the only one that actually works there.
Yeah.
I apologize. But we attended, and it was just a wonderful event, and it was, you know, run by the students for 90+% of it, and very impressive, and very impressive, community over at Gersdale Academy. Also, on Veterans Day, just a little piece I just want to share. I did a piece on WBAL TV, lasted a couple minutes, and it talks about resiliency and about the resiliency program that's happening on Fort Meade. You could probably look up the video, or at least the article that was put together. It's tough to talk about, but it's important because as leaders, or as a leader, I don't want somebody going through the challenges that I've gone through. And I don't want people waiting 30 plus years before they're seeking the appropriate help. So that's what Veterans Day to me is about, is not just thanking a veteran or putting up flagpoles and monuments, but reaching out to veterans just like these Hogs and Heroes do, and provide purpose for our veterans. There is a turkey to my right, or at least a turkey tie, which is Commissioner Frazier, and happy Thanksgiving to all.
Zoom in on that tie.
Remembering, huh?
You said turkey.
No, it's to my far right.
I'm glad it went by you.
Yeah, that's
By
right.
me.
I think your tie beats out
You're
Mr.
a
Burke's tie.
squab.
Oh, no doubt about
He's
that.
got little pilgrims.
That's a good one.
But,
I know about that.
So anyway, but
You tried.
Thanksgiving, family, friends, and neighbors. Ensure that we, and again, I don't want to be on the pulpit talking about it, but focusing on our balance between what we do for the good of the community, and what we do for the good of the community is also, strengthening the time we have with family, friends, and our neighbors. So happy early Thanksgiving to all, and it's also a reminder that the offices will be closed on Thanksgiving, next Thursday, and the day after. So on Thursday and Friday, thank you. Yeah, the planning and zoning, I feel like a broken record also. We want quality folks on planning and zoning, and we're beating the bushes, trying to reach out to folks. We've had town halls. There's going to be an upcoming meeting with the commissioner the end of this month.
Yeah, that, good commercial.
It is.
November 30th.
November 30th.
November 30th at the
Pleasant Valley.
brand new social hall. So
That's right.
for no other reason, if you don't want to come to see that, you can put earmuffs on when I start talking. But come to see that.
But
Or leave right away. I don't.
Is that Wance Hall?
7 p.m. November 30th.
It
But,
is the best hall in the county.
So, opportunity to have the conversation with Commissioner Wance, and also understand the importance of planning and zoning and the other boards and commissions that we have, aging and disabilities and all the others. So look forward to the public hearing this afternoon and this evening to listen to what is being said. I think the work sessions that we've had led up, or is leading up to these public hearings. If you have not listened to the latest work session, please do, because it may cover some of the grounds that want to be discussed during the public hearing. So instead of just being repetitive. I think that's enough.
You think so?
I think so.
I did miss one thing I visited, which is kind of important.
Which is,
I had the opportunity to visit our emergency management headquarters, which is right around the corner from Carroll, at Camp Frederick in, I guess, Reisterstown, that would be considered. They had an open house yesterday. They are now, they were MEMA, and now they're MDEM. Same thing, Maryland Department of Emergency Management. So toured that facility, which is going to soon be taken apart. They're going to do major renovations there. They're going to actually move to Hanover, Maryland for a period of time until they renovate. But Carroll County's own Russ Strickland is now the secretary of MDEM, and that's a cabinet position which many of us have been working for quite a few years. So congratulations. He's now on the governor's cabinet, seated at the right hand, and those folks do amazing work. Just like with all things emergency management, nobody thinks about them until you have to.
Until your shed's on fire.
So, kudos to what they do down there. A lot of folks from Carroll work there. So, had a great opportunity. Val was there, Hawkins, she was there too. So, Carroll County was well represented yesterday.
no, thank you. And Commissioner Frazier did mention about COVID-19, and in the local news about the numbers continuing to rise here in Carroll County. After Thanksgiving, we will have the health department here presenting the numbers and understanding why the importance of vaccines matter and why masks matter, and some of the myths and facts associated with the vaccines and the masks and the situations that we are aware of, because there's a lot of misunderstandings, especially on social media, on what vaccines do and do not do. So I'd like to hear it from our health department, which I have full confidence in. Couldn't get them today. They're unfortunately, busy doing other, activities, but as soon as we can, which will be the week after Thanksgiving. But just COVID is still there, and it's unfortunate, and it's not just an inconvenience, because people are still getting sick and still dying from this. So, without that being the final damper, let's talk about water and sewer fall amendment. Ms. Linden Price, why don't you come on up here?
An exciting subject to lighten the mood.
So,
Again, one of those things you don't know how important it is until something happens.
absolutely.
Exactly.
So good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm here with Price Wagner today to present to you the fall amendment to the 2019 Water and Sewer Master Plan. Price has a presentation for you just to show you what the proposed changes are for this amendment for the various towns. Again, we put forward information for the towns and amend our plan that we send in jointly to Maryland Department of the Environment. There also is a section of the county's sewer system too that is being amended. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Price Wagner to show you what the proposed amendments are and the process moving forward.
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Wentz has already heard this.
You may be excused.
Thank you very much.
I don't blame you.
Nothing personal, but
I don't
I'll be right
blame
back.
you. Man, just give it to Price.
It's dry.
it is, yes. Water and
Actually,
sewer.
what we're
It's
talking
not,
about.
it's water, it's not dry.
It's
Oh,
not.
I'm sorry. So this is our fall amendment. Our amendments happen twice a year, in the springtime and the fall. And then we also have a triennial update, which is every 3 years. So the amendments occur during the time the triennial update are being worked on. So I've stated this before, so why to amend the plan? Again, biennial amendments, they are twice a year, spring and fall, to update criteria that cannot wait for the triennial update. The initiation by amendment, individuals, property owners can ask for property to be amended, whether they're in priority or they're ready to tie in, if they're in future want to move over, or if they're in a different situation, say long range. A town system operator, which Carroll County is system operator for the Hampstead wastewater, and of course obviously the Freedom Water and Sewer, and then staff. And when we say staff, it's pretty much, we look at it and it is sort of the staff of, county planning staff is also, could be our utility staff too. They may come to me and say, we need to look at updating this aspect of putting this property within the sewer service area. So we have 3 amendments, one in Freedom, which is just for sewer, Westminster is water only, and the one in Manchester is for water and for sewer. So the Freedom site's for the sewer service area. This is a gentleman, is actually a request by the owner, Garraway, and then you'll see down here is Exchange Drive, which is the Ellensburg Exchange, is right back here. This property owner is currently in long range, but as you can see, he is surrounded by properties that are already tied in. And although we don't show it, the sewer line runs, Century High School is up this direction. And the sewer line runs through these properties to Garraway. This gentleman has an easement that was in his deed when he purchased the property that has the ability to tie into the sewer aspect, if should he choose. So he's in the process, his septic is getting old, and he was looking to replace septic, or, look at, since there is sewer in and around me and my neighbors and have the ability to tie in, is there a cost benefit and when he came back and he saw, it was almost a one-for-one. He said, I'd rather go ahead and tie into the sewer, instead of having to replace my septic and then potentially 25 years down the road, 30 years again, replace again. So he is going to priority, that's where we go until you connect. And then once he is connected, then we'll change him into existing automatically. This is just adding one dwelling unit. So the 250 gallons per day is the estimate that we do based on MDE requirements. It's very possible that it will come in a lot less than that, but the 250 is what MDE requires when we're looking at building lots. Even though the house is already built, we're still using that 250. Again, you can see up in this area, you can see here's the 8-inch line that comes from the high school as well as the elementary school. It goes through right behind his property to get her away. Now, in the city of Westminster, this was a
I apologize.
Sorry.
Is that going to service all, I mean, because that's a residence. Is
Correct.
it gonna service all of those homes?
I'm sorry.
It already does.
It serves, all these homes are already connected. Yes, sir. These
Yeah,
two
but that,
homes
yeah,
are not.
those are not,
Correct.
and are they not requesting to be?
They are not requesting at this time. And I believe the only reason this gentleman is requesting is his septic was needing to be repaired or replaced, and he looked at the cost of
Okay.
replacing and then tying in, and he decided for maybe a little bit more, I'll tie in the sewer and not have to worry about it.
Okay.
So, yes, these two properties down here are not requesting at this time,
Right.
and not knowing how their deeds are written. Obviously, the big thing is having the easement to get the sewer line to that property owner. This is behind him, so,
Because I believe I know the property owner we're talking about, so just curious.
so that is sort of,
Okay.
he actually is in the process of, I think, where the line, where the easement supposedly is,
Yeah,
he and the property owner behind him decided that's not the best place. So
Mhm.
they're moving the easement, so the easement's still there, but they're gonna move it to make it a better fit for both parties.
yeah.
And that's at their expense
Correct.
and not the county's expense.
Exactly.
So they're paying for this.
Exactly, and that's sort of this is, and that's where it came from, was like, I can spend X amount for septic, or, okay, for maybe $3,000 more, I'll spend and just go ahead and tie the sewer. So
Right.
correct, that is on the expense of the
Okay.
property owner.
Mr. Wagner, is there already infrastructure in place on that cul-de-sac road?
The only infrastructure, let me get that map.
Where would they be tying in from? Behind them or in front of them?
Behind them, yes, sir. It is,
Okay.
the line pretty much splits these properties. There's right down on the backside of this property and this property, and then it ties into Garraway. There is no infrastructure. So these houses right here, this house would tie in, is probably tying in laterally.
Okay.
This house is tying in from the end. So for these two houses to tie in, is assuming there would have to be an easement somewhere either through this property to go to tie in, or since the line goes up into sort of this part of Garraway. So there is no infrastructure right now in that cul-de-sac.
I was just curious, I thought maybe the development was built with infrastructure in it, but they opted not to tie in, but it doesn't exist in the
Correct, does
cul-de-sac.
not exist at this time.
All right,
Correct.
thank you for clarifying that.
So this is the city of Westminster. This request was brought by the city on behalf of the property owner. And actually, I believe in your packet, you'll see the letter from the property owner sort of stating his reasoning for wanting to come out. It looks like two parcels, but actually it's one parcel. And this portion right here is the remainder of the Stonegate subdivision, which is right off of Old Westminster Pike where the roundabout is, the new roundabout that was put into place. So he was wanting to come out of the system totally, not long range, come out totally. He won't need or any desire to potentially develop this property. The properties that are currently served are outside the city limits, and there are water only. So there is no septic in this subdivision here that is probably built back in the early 80s, late 80s. So these properties, so Woodside Drive, and those properties and Glen Drive are only served by water only by the city of Westminster. They are on septic. So these properties could, yes, develop, own well and septic. Again, it'd be 7 lots total because they're outside the service area, and they will be on well and septic. Again, the gentleman requested via his letter that he does not want to be in a service area. The city was okay with that. Their planning commission certified that everything is good, and they will update their comprehensive plan to show that that one portion of the property will be removed from their sewer service area when it comes. So in this case, the city will, in essence, recoup demand of 7,285 gallons that they don't have to worry about. That could be used. The demand is coming out of their service area altogether. However, that would give them the ability, should somebody else need something, they have a buffer that they could potentially add back in. But with the water allocation policy that the city has in place, this helps them make that allocation policy work better for them.
So there's gonna be 31 units in this area?
That, it could potentially be 31 units based on our buildable land inventory that we showed. And again, you'll see it right down here is where it is, and Stonegate goes down to the bottom. That is all gonna be environmental, steep slopes, forestry, that type of thing. So Manchester is twofold, water and sewer. And in the water portion, there's 4 properties, and in the sewer portion, there's only 3. This property right here, off of Locust Lane, this portion is a larger property, encompasses all of this aspect. This portion that is highlighted and shown to be in long range is the only portion that's within the town limits. And they're in the process right now of potentially hearing the US site plan. They're working with the developer to put solar on this portion, this area right here. So this whole area they're looking to do solar. So with that being said, they requested for that property, this portion of the property within the town to come out of the service area for water and sewer, because typically solar does not need water and or sewer. We put it in long range so that down the road, 25 years, depends on the life of the solar, should the solar come back out and they want to come back in, being in long range gives them the ability, because they're in the overall plan. Map-wise, it'll show long range. The demand does not go towards any of the allocation aspects, so that helps. So you'll see properties that is one of those where the infrastructure may not be in place, or it's development that they would like to have one day, but at this point in time, they don't have the ability to serve. So they put it in long range, which is 10+ years, and it gives the town or utility supplier the ability to put the infrastructure there one day should it ever get there, and sometimes it never occurs.
What exists on the property right now? Is it cars, buildings, or?
Right now, it is all open farmland.
Okay.
And the rest of the property, I believe, will stay in farm aspects. Yeah, exactly. I believe this property right here, see, this one or this one is the spray irrigation for the town of Manchester, for their septic, or their sewer, sorry. This is I call it the Thomas Tree Farm. This is the Wayne Thomas property, which is currently outside the town limits for Manchester. The property was put into the municipal growth area in 2018 comprehensive plan. The town has written a letter, and it was written on September 16th to JP. This property is looking to go into ag pres, and I believe Commissioner Went said you actually last week you talked about this
Right.
during commission. So the town said the letter is they are removing this from the municipal growth area of the town. So that way it will not be within the growth area. It's still outside the town limits. They don't serve outside the town limits, and this will allow the property go into ag pres. My understanding is also the property owners, besides doing ag pres, is also looking to utilize some, if not all, of the property for water recharge for the town of Manchester. So that is sort of where, because obviously since it's still a Christmas tree farm, depends on where the soils and how it works, but that is what they are looking to do. This property, based on our buildable land inventory, could have had 107 lots on it. And that would have been 26,250 gallons of water a day. So with this and the other ones that you'll see for water, the net change for the town of Manchester is the removal of 23,750 gallons of potential demand, which helps there be able to serve those who are already in the system, whether it's priority or future. It just helps make sure they have all the ability to keep going and have the ability to make sure they're able to serve those who are currently in the system, in the plan to tie in within the next 0 to 10 years, if not.
So let me
Yes,
just
sir.
stop you for a minute, Bryce, though. I think this is an appropriate time for me to bring up something that's occurred. And Linda, you probably don't know about this, because it just happened. I haven't had a chance to meet with staff about it, but you know, this was an interesting discussion, the Thomas Tree Farm in planning and zoning. And the question was asked about removing it from the MGA or the DGA, whatever you want to call it, MD, whatever. And you know, the ramifications of that when it as it pertains to the future growth of Carroll and what we're attempting to do. So, good discussion from some of the folks on the planning and zoning. But what I hinted at a couple weeks ago when this first came to light, and perhaps I brought it up last week, is this could open the door for others to do the same thing, which I find to be a little bit challenging. So with that being said, I received an email yesterday from an individual who owns a farm in Tawnytown that's in their MGA or DGA, requesting to be taken out of that so that it can go into ag land press. So I predicted, and it's not about me predicting, but I did say that this could have the potential of other folks saying, whoa, wait a minute. So I'm going to be forwarding that to the appropriate staff. Linda, you'll get that here later this morning. But it's an interesting topic of discussion that that we need to have. Now, obviously, that's up to the town. We know that. But it's also goes to, you know, the balance that we talk about when it comes to economic growth, ag pres, and having residential units, regardless of whether they're in their municipalities or not.
Doesn't some of this have to do with water availability though in some of these areas, some of these towns?
And that's why I brought it up, because
Yes, I mean, for Manchester, the availability, I believe no. That area there, I mean, I've been in meetings with Steve Miller, the town manager, that he would come back and say, you know, our wells they are so full, we have so much water. In other areas, it may be the water availability, correct? Because I do know other areas are having challenges with water. Either they're not able to have all their wells up and running for certain reasons, or it's just the way the aquifers they're in, they don't have the water to cover the potential growth if they do their whole growth area.
So I think it's a good point. I mean, being prepared on how we're setting a precedence on inaction to others that are seeing this and saying, well, why not me? So I think setting the precedence would be that we're looking at specific criteria associated with the recommendations, and it'll be case by case, because you know, there are properties around the county that they're gonna say, well, what about me? You know, and, well, you did it there, why not here? You know, we gotta be very clear, here are the criteria associated, and the decision will come back to us.
right, and ultimately, it's up to the town
Yeah.
in this particular instance.
So not
Again,
necessarily, I mean, So just a couple points on the municipal growth area.
Right.
That is jointly decided by the county and the municipality. So you may not want to shrink the municipal growth area. That is something that would have to be a discussion. But when they come forward, you know, that's something that I believe AgPres brings to you all, saying that they want to come out. And this is not the first time that this has happened. We've had this in New Windsor, and we've had it in Town on multiple occasions. I'm coming forward. So this, I don't want this is not the precedent setting. This precedent's already been set with the AgPres in the municipal growth areas and the removal or changing of either zoning or the boundaries. So not that that's a topic of this discussion, but this is not the precedent. I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah,
for this moving
and
forward.
again, I'm sure that it's not, but as more and more of this occurs, it does become front and center because of the, well, wait a minute, if they can do it, why can't I?
I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
So, again, I'll forward
Sure.
that to you and the appropriate personnel and AgPres, and y'all have to put your heads together and see where it goes next steps. I think she reached out to me as her commissioner for the initial poke, if you will. So, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I did mean to interrupt.
That's a good point. Well, we can hopefully answer your questions. This is the Woodhaven Building and Development Properties. You actually may remember the annexation that occurred this past spring of what was the Lippy property, which is this portion right here is considered the Lippy property, right across from Manchester Valley High. This is a subdivision that was recorded back in about 1974, considered just called Old Town. Never built, just lines on the ground platted. The developer, Woodhaven Building, is looking to do 40 total units on the old Lippy property that was just annexed in and what is considered the Old Town section. So what we have is there's 8 properties already. This portion of the Lippy property back here was already within town limits and was already within the water and sewer service area. So this, with buildable land inventory, could provide 8 units. The rest of it would be 32 more units. And what we would be asking is, they're asking to add roughly 8,000 gallons total to cover the remaining 32 units. This portion of these areas are shown in their comprehensive plan as being within the priority sewer service area. Their planning commission certified consistency at their October meeting, and they are looking to, again, move this in so they can hopefully move forward with the Woodhaven Building and Development Properties and start, potentially, the owners can start looking at doing a subdivision for those properties across from Manchester Valley High. One of the questions that may have come up before is, and I just say the town has definitely showed interest in making sure that the entrance to this new subdivision should be across from Maple Grove. Maple Grove Road, so it'll be lighted, so instead of having it offset, it'll be more of a, which you would hopefully want. This is the final one in Manchester for water. This is PV Manchester LLC, which is considered Patriots Overlook. The portion that is actually highlighted was just annexed in. That petition was before the commission back in the spring or summer. And they are looking to add, it's 38 lots are planned total. There are already 11 lots that are in the priority, that are in the plan. So 26 lots are not accounted for. So adding those 26 lots are already in the water and sewer service area. There's 11 lots that are not planned for. So those 11 lots, they're looking to bring that, which will be, those 11 lots will pretty much be with the portion that was annexed in. So that would add 2,750 gallons of water. And again, the net water change is a negative 23,750 because of the Thomas Tree Farm. Same thing, just sort of looking quickly for sewer, is the exact same thing. Again, you'll see here's a Thomas Tree Farm for water. Locust Lane, the solar, potential solar farm, the Libby properties, and then this is the Patriots Overlook. And for sewer, it is these three properties, again, so this will be looking to bring in 11 properties for sewer. This one, 32 properties for sewer, and then removing this portion and putting it in the long range. There was, the Thomas Tree Farm was not in the sewer service area. So that may be another potential, since they weren't in the sewer service area, they really couldn't do 107 houses because you can't have more than 7 lots on sewer, or on septic, sorry. So that's sort of that may be another reason why the town was okay with doing this, because they didn't currently have them in the sewer service area and didn't have a plan for it. They weren't even in long range, they were in no plan service. So again, there's the solar farm, Locust Lane. This is the Libby property again. The Patriots Overlook, and the sewer net change would add just 2,500 gallons total to the town of Manchester's sewer demands. And they are in good shape when it comes to capacity, demand versus capacity. This is what the map will look like should we move forward. Again, just updating the tables for Manchester and Westminster for the water, and I believe in the package actually is just those two individually. And then the same, updating the Freedom Sykesville, which you may note that does not move at all because 250 gallons in the grand scheme of things will not move the needle. Manchester for sewer, it's just adding the 2,500 gallons. So the completed actions, we've updated the maps in the tables. The town of Manchester certified on October 19th. The city of Westminster certified on November the 11th. And then our planning commission certified on the 16th, which was Tuesday. So the next steps, this is what we're over here is a public hearing December the 2nd. And then you have the county commission discussion, decision, and adoption of a resolution on May the 6th. Wow. I don't know why that says May. Sorry, December the 16th.
Okay.
And then we would forward it to the 7th, it would be before Christmas. So the 17th or that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before Christmas. And more than likely, it will be after the first year before we get a response back. MDE and the Maryland Department of Planning have been received, they have looked at the draft we've done so far. We have not received any comments back. I've had talks with Maryland Department of Planning, and I believe just in the talk we had, I've satisfied their questions they had, especially based on the Manchester aspect. So, without any major surprises, I don't see why this wouldn't be totally finally approved by the Maryland Department of Environment. But of course, until we get that letter, the final action letter, it's how it's gonna be. So, what we're asking for today is that the staff moves that the Board of County Commissioners proceed with a public hearing for the 2021 Fall Amendment to the 2019 Water and Sewer Master Plan to be held on December the 2nd. That is the motion and I will recommend.
Okay, Bryce, very well presented. Just like the public hearings we're doing this afternoon, this evening, I look forward to, participation in public hearing, and also recognize, like, from the work sessions we've had, I don't wanna say we just roll over to what's being said, because we don't. We take into consideration, very strong consideration, the community's input. So if the community, wants to make recommended changes, this is an opportunity to do that, and we will then take it, from there. But, too often we hear, oh, it's gone to the planning and zoning, and therefore we're just gonna sign on. I don't think we've done that, and I think we have a proven track record that that doesn't happen, so, but very well presented, so.
I'll move the Board of County Commissioners proceed with a public hearing for the 2021 public amendment to the 2019 Water and Sewer Master Plan.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about purchasing some radios and accessories to issue to 6 volunteer fire companies. Mr. Campbell.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm also very pleased to have Mr. Jack Brown with me today. Jack's the county's emergency communications manager. He basically runs our 911 center dispatch center. As you said, Commissioner, we're here today to discuss a proposed purchase of 192 Motorola Solutions portable radios for 6 more of our volunteer fire companies. This is would be the third of 5 planned incremental or per fiscal year purchases of the radios to make this transition of all our public safety users. The proposed purchase would provide the portable radios needed by the Hampstead, Union Bridge, Reese, New Windsor, Sykesville, and Winfield volunteer fire companies. The funding needed to make this purchase, the proposed cost of $891,111.63 is included in the approved budget, so no additional monies would be needed if you were to choose to proceed with the purchase. So this is a planned, again, year 3 of a 5-year plan to transition all of public safety to the newest platform of radios that are available. This is something that we are very pleased to propose as the next step. This is I'll use the term the consequence of us not being funded in our Assistant to Firefighter grant application, where a majority of these radios would have been funded through that grant. So this was planned, it's funded, the monies are there, but in light of the significant amount of money that's involved, it requires Commissioner approval if we were to proceed.
Just a question, how does this fit into our new Director of Fire and EMS Service and the volunteers? How is this going to fit?
Actually, it's a great question, Commissioner. Had that discussion with Director Robinson. To his credit, because this was a plan in place, he was very much supportive of the proposal, reviewed everything, previous measures, proposed measures, and he's very much on board. And I'm sure if the Director was here, I'm confident that he would concur.
I don't think it was a great question. I think it may have been good.
It was average.
Yeah,
Okay, it was an average.
Okay.
I agree. Is that a motion?
That is a motion saying it is not a great
Okay,
question. but-
second.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
How long do these radios
just
last?
say.
Appreciate
Before they're
the
outdated.
question, Commissioner. The proposed radios, the Apex, have between 10 to 12 year, and the reason why I say between is because depending on who you ask from Motorola Solutions, if you ask folks from engineering, they'll tell you 12 years because they're involved in the design and build. If you have people who sell them, they'll tell you a minimum of 10 years. But the good news is we have a track record with these Motorola products that they greatly exceed what they share. So when they say a minimum, it is a very, very conservative minimum. Shy of a change in technology, I can't even foresee the time to have to upgrade to the next level. Admittedly, Motorola or someone out there could come out with a new technology tomorrow that we simply have no way of knowing. But for everything that we have to make a decision on, this is a transition for the foreseeable future.
So they'll support these radios with.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm worried about.
Absolutely, and maybe to add some context, Motorola Solutions offers a minimum 6 months notification to their customers when they are going to terminate production of or manufacturing of a product, and then once that cutoff, that is no longer manufactured, then an additional 5 years of guaranteed support, materials, technology, et cetera. So I would say that at an absolute minimum, if they told us today they're going to stop, or the day after we buy them, we're going to have 5.5 years at an absolute bare minimum.
Scott, bear with us 1 second.
Sure.
Ted?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you understood something, when Motorola changes their support or how long a particular radio lasts, we're budgeting for these radios every year, all the time. This goes on forever. So it's always going to be part of the picture. The details change.
Right, I mean, I understand we have ongoing budget with this, and I just like to know that, have some type of confidence that they're gonna be supported in the future, so we don't have to put all new radios in every 5 years or something, that's all.
Understood.
And it's a sticker shock when you see something like $891,000, but for the community especially to understand that these decisions are not made right now on spending $891,000. They are executing the monies that we have budgeted through the budget process, which occurred last, year, or earlier this year, excuse me.
Absolutely.
So it's an execution of something, like you said, is within the budget. It is not just saying, here's $890,000, here you go. It's,
Agree.
it's the next step to a process, so, okay. But it's a lot of money. It looks like a sticker shock, but it's what we've,
But to that point, Commissioner, I think it's an excellent
there you go.
segue
Excellent's
to.
good.
It's an excellent it's an excellent
It is.
segue to the fact that that's why we approach it this way, because
I
of the
agree.
cost.
Dick,
I agree it's excellent.
I would say it's average.
So I'll make the motion.
Was
Move the
excellent.
Board of
Sure.
County Commissioners before anything. Authorize the Director of Public Safety to purchase the APX 6000XE portable radios and accessories as proposed, as well as approve payments of the resolution bill.
I'll second that one too.
Okay. Do we need two actions? Just the one? I got a motion, I got a second. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Hey, Jack, while you're there,
Yes, sir.
how's the people power at the 911 center? Are we up to the amount that you need, or are you still,
We're still trying to get the numbers all the way up to where we should be.
okay, how many are you down?
Four right now.
Are you? Okay.
What are the salary ranges of the four?
ECS one startings,
Okay.
right, so,
Okay. It's always a important topic of discussion. That,
we had four start, 3 weeks ago, and we've already lost two, so.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's a tough job. I mean, I did it part-time for a while, but, you've heard me say many, many times, it's the first of the front line.
Yep.
And it's very important. So, while you were here, not to mention the fact you didn't get to say anything, while you were here, I wanted you to give us an
I'm
update.
okay with that.
Yeah, I know, but it's always good to hear the update on where you are with people power over there.
We expect to be
why do you
advertising
leave?
again shortly after the first of the year.
Okay.
When you say we already lost two in a couple weeks, did they just say they don't like this line of work, or did they go somewhere else? Because it takes a lot of training.
One was, I believe, a personal issue. The other was they accepted another job that was their first choice.
Right.
So they were
Okay.
here one day, and then
It
left to go
happens.
to their other job.
Are you tenured if you're here for one day?
No,
Never.
no, sir. That's no.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
I just want to thank you guys for making 3 of these 6 fire companies in regards to radios in District 4. Thanks for showing them some love.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Zaleski and Deb, let's talk about the quarterly updates and budget transfers to close the completed capital projects.
As Commissioner Rothstein just said, we're really here for two different things. One is just to update you on kind of what's happening during the year, and the other is to do a few small cleanup things in the capital budget. So on what's happening, of course, it's still very early, lots can change, so this is just a kind of look with the information we have today. On the revenue side, our two largest revenues, for now, we're saying coming in on budget. Property tax, we don't have any new information. Income tax, we've gotten some distributions, but our first big distribution will actually be coming in a week or so we haven't seen a lot yet. Although one notable thing, we did have a reconciling distribution, so a lot of the money that comes in during the year is matching up what actually happened in tax returns to what we've received along the way. And that distribution was planned for $1.9 million. We got $0. And I think this is right, Deb. That was the first time we've ever gotten zero for that distribution.
That's correct.
So that was an indication that we have gotten too much money in other years. What we don't know is how much more correction is ahead of us. Was that it, or is there millions more to go? So stay tuned on that. The other notable thing in revenues is because of the continuing hot housing market, recordation is running well ahead of budget. Right now, if we continued on the same trend, we'd be about $5.5 million over budget. I don't think it would be a good idea to assume we're going to stay on this same trend. We're starting to see some slowing in the housing market. It's still very hot, but not as hot as it was. And it's certainly possible that later in the year, we're going to see that things are going to slow down some. So that $5.5 million is part of our estimate now of revenues coming in $5.7 million over. So almost the whole thing right now is about recordation, and that could change. On the expenditure side, we're projecting about $7 million to be unexpended. Again, very early, so you don't want to put too much weight on that yet. The biggest part of that is the reserve for contingencies. If things lead us to go there, then that changes. And of course, the big question mark is always, what is the winter like with snow and ice? That's our most common unexpected expenditure. The rest of the savings, or largely the rest of the savings, is about open positions. And we've talked about this for other purposes, but we have a good number of open positions, or have had, not spending on the salaries, so at the end of the year that money will still be there. Oh, yeah, of course, and with change in the implementation of new fire and EMS, we have money budgeted that's not being spent yet, so that's another big piece right now. So the combination of those things, as things stand, we see ending the year about $13 million to the good. A little over $4 million of that is already planned for the following year, so that would leave about $9 million. And you're currently sitting on about $29 million of unassigned fund balance. So the combination of those would put us at about $38 million. I think that's all I really wanted to share with you on that, unless you have some questions or something you wanted me to go a little deeper into.
That's better than negative here, so.
Yep. Well, we try very hard to avoid that. I've said to many people on many occasions, when they object to the idea of a surplus at the end of the year, that if we don't end up with a surplus, something went wrong. Yeah. Okay, so now we have 3 capital resolutions. These are minor items. This is basically just a way to clean up some things during the year so it doesn't all get done waiting for the end of the year. The first one, C22.05, would be to move money from 4 projects that are completed. Part of it would go to general government unallocated, and part of it would go to public works unallocated. Now, these unallocated projects, these are existing capital projects where we keep some money. This is appropriated and available for use, but not earmarked for any use. This can come up when we need to find money during the year that has not been planned for, and something we're experiencing a lot now. We have projects that are coming in more expensive than we planned for. This is often the place we can go to say, how do we make this good? So,
what's the breakdown? I apologize. What's the breakdown of general government and DPW?
Okay, the general government unallocated is getting $150,000, and the public works unallocated is getting just under $140,000.
Was this discussed during the administrative session on where you want to put this money, or just curious? I mean, how did you come up with, with Director Casaway, this is the money that should go into your coffers? How's that work?
No science here.
Right.
We're basically just trying to keep money available in different spots.
Yeah.
And in the end, if you needed to find money, it really doesn't matter. Just because we called it general government unallocated doesn't mean you couldn't use it for a public works purpose.
Right.
Or some other.
I'm just curious how, you're just moving it to these unallocated funds, and you know, not questioning, you know, the why, but just how it's done, the kind of,
Yeah, we,
you know.
we just look at how much is in them,
Yeah.
the likelihood of needing to use it. And, you know, like, we have a rec and parks unallocated too.
Yeah,
Sometimes we'll have a big rec and parks project, but generally speaking, we don't have something as big as we might have in public works.
Right,
So
right.
we wouldn't keep the same amounts
Okay.
there.
And one of the reasons why you're seeing general government unallocated and public works unallocated is because recently we had to transfer funds for the Farm Museum, maintenance building. And we did take money out of general government unallocated and public works unallocated, leaving small balances in both of them. So we are looking to close some of these projects, get some, replenish those funds in
Right.
case another project comes along that needs some funding.
okay.
And actually, in the next budget process, because of the current environment and because the balances in these have gotten low, we probably will be building in some recommendations to you to build these unallocateds up a little bit. Okay, probably should just take votes as we go here, if that's okay.
Oh, is that what you want 3 separate votes?
Yes, 3 separate actions.
Okay. I'll move the Board of County Commissioners approve capital budget resolution C 22.05 to close out several capital projects and transfer remaining cash to unallocated accounts in general government and public works. I'll stop there.
Second.
Okay. I got a motion, I got a second. Any discussion of this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's go to C 2206.
Okay, and this is a similar action, except now we are in Rec and Parks. And generally speaking, if we're closing out a Rec and Parks project, we will move that to the Rec and Parks unallocated. Although if it's general funds, you don't have to do that. That's still totally in your discretion. But on this one, we are closing out the Crimgold Park and moving a little under $22,000 to Rec and Parks unallocated.
I'll make the motion, Board of Commissioners approves the capital budget resolution C-22.06 to close out several capital projects and transfer any remaining cash unallocated accounts in Parks and Rec.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a couple of seconds. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, let's go to 07.
And the last one is also in Rec and Parks. This is with self-help projects. We are closing out 2 projects. One, we are moving the available money back into the self-help fund, and one actually needed $12 to be closed out, so we're taking care of that. And then with the self-help projects, our practice is when we close a self-help project, we move the money back to self-help so that it can be used again for another self-help project in the future. Although again, if that's general funds, there's nothing that requires you to do that. You could always make a choice, but that's our general approach.
Any questions on this?
No, I'll move the Board of County Commissioners approve capital budget resolution C 22.07 to close out self-help project and transfer remaining cash to self-help, central self-help.
Second.
Got a motion second, any discussion? Hearing seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tim Day. Okay. I'm glad I have a mic so I don't have to holler all the way to the back, but let's talk about lighting upgrades over at Deer Park.
That's
Maureen,
funny.
Jeff,
It's like in
come on up.
school, nobody wants to sit in front of the classroom.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, our first approval is to
to get your approval is request your approval to use the term contractor Eastern Sales and Engineering Company to install high-efficiency LED luminaries and other necessary field lighting upgrades to the main field at Deer Park in the amount of $254,308.37. This is within the approved budget, so no additional funds should be needed.
Morning, Commissioners. This is another project where we're maintaining our existing park infrastructure. You may recall in the last budget, we received $1.5 million from the state. This was for local park and playground infrastructure projects. So the entire cost of this project is fully supported by those state funds. There is no local match required. And what this will do, this will provide improved lighting at the site. There'll be a lot less light spillage, so much higher light quality and much less energy consumption.
Fantastic. Automatic turn-off times.
We will have that, yes. One day we'll have that at Sandy Mount as well.
As is one.
But yes, we'll be able to control these remotely, and this is the same company that recently put the lights in up at the Carroll County Sports Complex on the multipurpose field there. And having that remote capability is a really nice addition.
Oh, yeah.
You said this was a competitive bid?
It's actually one of our term contracts.
It's a term contract, okay.
Yes, which was originally competitive.
Got it, okay. So in other words, we use them, and we've been using them.
Yes.
Is it a, just curious, is it a 3-year contract, or is it 1 and 3, is it
It's
3 and
4.
5? Okay, in the middle.
So it's 1
Okay.
and 3.
Fantastic.
I move the Board of Commissioners approve the use of term contract for Eastern Sales and Engineering Company to install lighting upgrades to Deer Park in the amount of $254,308.37.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you
Dick,
very
you
much.
get to go away. Mark, you get to come up. Maureen, you stay right there. Cisco SmartNet Support Services Renewal. Okay.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning.
Again, we are here to ask for approval to award the contract for Cisco SmartNet support services to Digicon Corporation in the amount of $202,004.42. The purchase is being made through a Maryland state contract. Again, this is within the adopted budget, and no additional funds should be needed.
So basically, Commissioners, there's about 210 devices that are used to make our entire network run. For all the facilities, in between all of the facilities that are there, this contract gives us all of the support that we need, the upgrade to the software to protect us from cybersecurity attacks. It is a 24/7, 365 day a year that these devices are being monitored, and if something would go wrong, and they has, and fortunately you haven't seen a whole lot of downtime because of this contract. They are able to quickly come in, either help us diagnose what the problem is with a piece of equipment, or quickly replace that piece of equipment so that we can continue to operate.
These are our funds in our budget. It says in no additional funds, so it's, we budgeted this during the cycle? We're using-
This is in my IT budget, yes,
It is,
Commissioner.
okay, and we're using the Maryland State contract to
Correct.
fulfill this?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I make the motion, the Board of Commissioners award the contract to Cisco SmartNet Support Services to Digicon Corporation in the amount of $202,004.42.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second. Anything else? Discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor? Okay, APC Symetra PX80 Revitalization Library Headquarters. Let's talk about this.
We're seeking your approval to award the APC Symatic PX80 revitalization to term contractor Chesapeake Mission Critical in the amount of $30,055. Again, it's in the adopted budget, no additional funds should be needed.
So, and we are doing this, all of this equipment is now coming to end of life. We've had it for about 7, 8 years that it's been in place. We've replaced the actual batteries. They're not part of this particular part, but we've had to replace the batteries before to keep them fresh and up to date. And this is a software and hardware upgrade to that system. This system is extremely important in keeping our equipment off. Should we ever lose any electricity up there, it is used by 4 different agencies for backups, the 911 center, New Windsor 911 center, all those types of things are connected to this system. So we don't want it to go down if we lose power, for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. All right, I make a motion, we approve the APC Symetra PX80 revitalization term contractor Chesapeake Mission Critical, $30,055.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second, any further discussion, seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, Mark. Maureen,
Thank
got
you.
A couple more to go. Let's talk about purchasing a Ford Transit 350 cutaway van.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're looking very blue,
Yes, sir.
just saying.
Doesn't mean I'm feeling blue.
Okay.
We are requesting your approval to award the purchase of one 2021 Ford Transit 350 cutaway van to Kraus Ford in the amount of $53,469. This purchase was originally going to take place through Apple Ford, but we are requesting that that be canceled and make the purchase through Kraus Ford because of the extended time delivery through Ford Company, not actually Apple, but through Ford
Right.
Company. And again, it is within the budget, and no additional funds should be necessary. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Reed can answer them.
Yeah, so basically that's what we're looking for your approval to do, is cancel the vehicle we ordered in August because we're not expecting to have that until about May or June of '22. Kraus Ford has this van in stock. And part of the reason why we're coming to you, if you recall, a few weeks ago, we had spoken about, we have a couple of wreck vans and facilities. So what this will do is not only allow us to get this van immediately, but the van that will be replacing, which is a 2005 Chevy van, we can use that as a substitute for one of those wreck vans.
Make the motion, the Board of Commissioners award the purchase of one 2021 Ford Transit 350 cutaway van to Kraus Ford, the amount of $53,496.
$469.
Oh, 69, what did I say?
96.
Yeah.
So what's the price again?
$53,469.
There you
go.
I'll second that.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Any conversation on this one? It's just gonna get tougher, unfortunately. All in favor?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Let's talk about 2021 pipe culvert and storm drain rehabilitation.
We are asking your approval to award the contract for the 2021 pipe culvert and storm drain rehabilitation to Pleasance Construction in the amount of $401,169.63. This was a competitively sealed bid. We received 4 responses, and this map is within the adopted budget, and we should not need any additional funds. I'm sure Chris can answer your questions about the project.
Thank you. This project includes placing approximately 3,200 linear feet of cured-in-place pipe and pipe culverts and storm drain segments ranging from size of 15-inch to 60-inch in diameter. There are 45 pipe locations on 23 different roadways. These are the roadways that are currently in our pavement rehabilitation program now. This type of work is expected to extend pipe life to 30 to 40 years. Some studies have said 50, however, we're only in the 49th year of using this product. So we got one more year to see if we'll reach that 50-year mark or not. The estimated cost, if we had to replace these pipes completely, is about $950,000. So savings of about $548,000. Plus, a lot of these pipes run through yards and things like that. It's much less intrusive to these properties and not a lot of impact. So we've used this contractor before in fiscal year 19, and according to their website, they installed about 1.2 million feet of cured-in-place pipe in the US.
They've done well for us, I think, over the last several years.
Yes.
Well, I mean, why a 50%, difference in cost between them and the other three?
Well, they didn't get our FY20 bid. They got outbid. And the two areas where they got outbid this year, they significantly underbid the other contractors
Okay.
on those two areas. I really think they want the work. They've been asking us if we have any work, told them, keep checking public purchase, and I think they want to do this work. So they decided that they wanted to make sure they got the work this time.
They're hungry.
Okay.
We're happy with the,
I would think so, as long as you're, confident that they will complete the work. I mean,
we
that's
have no reason to believe they won't.
awesome. Okay, I'll move the Board of Commissioners award the contract for 2021 pipe culvert and storm drainage rehabilitation to Pleasance Construction Incorporated in the amount of $401,169.63. That motion got a second. Any further discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Maureen, you get to go away.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about the Northern Landfill Master Plan development. Gentlemen. Good morning. Do you have a presentation?
More Commissioners.
You do have a caller on the line. I'm not sure when you may do public comment, maybe possibly about this item, not sure.
I apologize, is the caller about this topic?
I have no way of knowing that. I'm just going to make sure we don't forget to check between each.
Okay, can you,
Open it up and ask.
yeah, reach out to the caller, and I can ask.
If you have a caller on the line, please identify yourself and what item you're here to make public comment about.
This is Jack Hayden. I'm just here to listen in. I didn't have a particular comment to make at this time.
Okay, thanks, Jack. Okay, gentlemen?
Great, thank you, Commissioners. This morning, we can do just a brief update on where we are with our master plan study. We've had a lot of requests coming in over the last few weeks since we closed on this property, of multiple different things, from things that are associated with landfill operations, some things that are not with landfill operations. And as the Board of Commissioners has stated to us previously, with the purchase of this land, the key part of this is to enhance our solid waste enterprise fund and make sure we're making long-term decisions, the right decisions for today, tomorrow, and the future. So we just wanted to give you a brief update of what we purchased and where we are with the plan and the next few steps time-wise, so everybody has an understanding of this isn't just a buy it today, start putting stuff on it tomorrow thing. There's got to be a little time in between. So, Cliff, I'm going to turn it over to you as you're trying to figure out how to
I'm trying
make
to figure out the lag on the, that's not ours. Sorry about that.
landfill property.
No, that's the map that's out. And unfortunately, I don't see. the
SWEF to the left side.
Okay. So apologize for the delay.
It's all good.
Yeah, the lag is what's getting me. I wanted to be able to show both at the same time. Chris, if you can help me out, or somebody can help me out. Split the screen.
Tell you what, if you just get the virtual back up, I'll run it up here.
Okay, here we go. I think we can do it this way. I apologize for that.
Nope, all good. So are you running it, or is Chris?
Okay. I think I can do it from here.
Sounds
I don't know who to yell at, that's all.
That's okay. You can all. Which one is it for the? Just notes. That's what I'm trying to do. Which one do I?
What do you want, the notes or the portrait?
I want to get rid of the notes.
Okay, all the way to the right.
This one.
There you go.
This one.
That's portrait.
He
Or
can't see
that's,
where you're pointing.
I can't see. That'd be too.
He can't hear you point.
Okay, that will not blow it all the way up to the screen.
Nope, it won't. It did. Wow. I thought it would have stayed in that.
And I would hope to, yeah, too.
Chris, go ahead.
Okay.
Unhanded control.
Okay. Well,
Real quick, it's on the right-hand side, you'll see the current map of, in yellow is what we currently own. The pink is what was purchased, and the blue striped is what was retained by the existing property owner, the parties that we purchased from. So those are areas that will actually we have to go through and subdivide out based on the way the sale was drafted. So there's the visual as we're talking and as we're talking, you know. So as you're talking space, you know, we have a little bit on one side, a little bit, you know, a little bit on the west side. We have some property on the east side, property on the north side. We don't have, you know, it's not all like one contiguous big chunk of 300 acres. So. Okay. Go.
Okay, as Jeff had mentioned, drawing on the right, the yellow shaded in the middle is our existing, or was our existing property. That's 220 acres, plus or minus. The areas in pink or red, those are the areas that or properties that we now own. That is an additional 326 acres. As Jeff had mentioned, in the blue slashed areas to the left and right are areas the seller retained, and we do have to go through a process of consolidating, subdividing those properties so they become two separate parcels for that owner after the survey is done. Now, where do we go from here? What are the next steps in the process? Basically, with regard to the property acquisition, a boundary survey is going to be required in order to really discover several things. One, where all the property lines are actually, property corners, other features that are out there, rights of way, different access points, easements. We also have a couple of farm areas that are being leased that are now split between us and the prior landowner. So a boundary property survey needs to be conducted of essentially the entire property to confirm where all of those changes are, all those property lines are. What that property survey will do will also be provide data that will support all of our future master plan efforts across the entire property. So everything that goes forward in the future will be built upon that boundary survey. And we'll be discussing that boundary survey after this presentation is done. We do have a proposal for it. We expect that to be started in December of '21 and to be completed sometime at or around second quarter of 2022. Okay, with regard to the master plan study and development, again, concurrent with the boundary study, the master plan study project will commence. The scope in the RFP is currently under development between us and the Northeast Maryland Waste Disposal Authority. The costs of developing that RFP are included in our annual membership fee with the authority. So it's just another one of those benefits we have of authority membership. The main goals are to determine what infrastructure can be placed where and perform design and permitting for future county solid waste operations on the property. The project activities that will occur throughout that task will be combination of environmental site assessments, or ESAs, natural resources identification, so all streams and wetlands and other features will be formally identified and logged. Historical and archaeological investigations, those are required for any work that MDE is going to look at. Subsurface investigations, geology, hydrogeology, where's the groundwater at? What can the land support, as far as structure is concerned? And options for utilities in the future. Now again, that's just a small sampling of everything that will be evaluated. As the studies progress, we'll also learn where certain infrastructure can be placed, and also, as importantly, where it can't be placed, including future landfill cells. Areas for waste diversion operations, as we've talked about before, the possibility for having things such as organics waste, mulch and compost operations, C&D recycling, and a host of other things. We need to know where they can go, where they can't go. Public drop-off areas, again, we know that our public drop-off areas at the current facility are not up to standard. This will give us an opportunity to site those properly, as well as any future transfer station location. If that's something that we do want to do in the future, we need to properly identify a location for that, and then retain that location so it's not impacted or impacting future construction like the current facility location would be doing. We want to stress again that this is a long-term planning effort, but it will ultimately help the county address our needs well into the future. And this is just my personal belief is I think we're maybe looking at a generational type of solution here, not just something for the next 10 or 20 years. And I think it's important we don't lose sight of that. Okay, an estimated timeline, Jeff can do that. An estimated timeline. We've identified a handful of tasks here that will start occurring here in the very near future, and we're just putting, at this point in time, an estimate on what those timeframes would be as far as calendar years are concerned. And right now, fairly comfortable looking out 4 or 5 years as to what has to be done and where it will be. Again, the boundary survey, 2021, 2022. The parcel consolidation effort, that's what I'll call those parcels east and west during calendar 22. An MDOT study and design and permitting. We know that entrance and egress from the facility is not what it could be. So one of the things we'll be looking at is how can we better get into and out of the property more efficiently. And then really the guts of the master plan development, again, the RFP process, beginning here in 21, likely on the street early 22. Then field work and study, and that includes everything that we talked about with the environmental site assessments, up to and including solid waste design. That's design of landfill expansion, transfer station, locations and everything else that could potentially be out there. We're looking at that at least a 3-year process, 22 through 24. Concurrently with the design, there are several permitting hurdles that are going to have to be crossed with MDE, EPA, depending on what we're looking at. That's air quality. Could be certain water features if we're dealing with wetlands and the like. That's also at the federal level. And then local permitting as well through stormwater management and everything that we have to do internally. Essentially looking at 2022 to 2026. Again, a lot of that can be concurrent with the work that's going on before it. As the results come in, as those applications and designs are put together, they are then submitted to the regulatory agencies and go through the approval process while we're working the other steps. Again, as those steps are approved then, property reconfiguration, 2024-ish, and who knows to when, depends on what everything is identified and what can be put in place. We are currently working on a master Gantt chart, big schedule chart. It's really nothing we wanted to put forward today because right now it's the beginning of the spaghetti bowl. But as that is developed, we will get it out. And going forward, I haven't talked to Jeff about this, but I'm going to say it anyway, is coming forward really to the board. I just tell him, it doesn't matter. I'd like to come forward to the board maybe on a quarterly basis and give updates as to where we are going through the process, at least that often. And that way everybody is involved and knowledgeable of where we're at. I'm sure a lot of that conversation will happen during the, I'm sorry?
I'm fine.
You're fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he'll throw me out here and just say, yeah, take care of it. So he's good with it.
Just like when I'm at home, just do as I'm told.
So that's where we stand today. What I'd like to do real briefly is throw a thank you out to the folks in engineering, especially who have been helping with the mapping and a lot of other things that we're doing. The RFP for surveying that'll be coming forward in a little bit. It's Emily and Chris Lenoch and Karen Monroe, Sonny. They've been doing a great job very quickly in helping get us going on this path.
And one of the things I just wanted to mention too is, Cliff, all of us, in Public Works understand the urgency to try to keep this ball rolling. We have some great momentum. We always continue to thank the board for helping with this decision and getting us to the point where we can get the study going. And some of this work that you see there from MDOT, MDE, EPA, some of that's going to work. That's our staff working with MDOT and MDE and starting the conversations. So as we start continuing working the design and the study, immediately we were ready. We have the documents ready. All we have to do is put the signature and date on it and submit it in. That's our goal as we move forward with this. So this way there's, if everybody's on board from day one, they can help guide us too, because there might, with legislation changing all the time in Annapolis, who knows what this season, because we all work with, and, you know, commissioners, you're down there in Annapolis on a regular basis. There's a lot of legislation out there, and as some of these get voted on, they could really heavily impact every piece of this design. So this is going, you know, in the middle of our design, you know, in the middle of our study, we may have to change some directions, so we're very cognizant of that. But we also want to be sure we're not putting something in the way of ourselves if there's going to be a future, you know, building or structure, and not be where we are today, where we have, you know, a gun range that's on top of a cell that we can never fill. We have we have the transfer station on top of a cell because we didn't have any room in the first place, and it was not something that was anticipated previously. So we just don't want to repeat, you know, don't want to repeat that for future.
You know, I hope the people of Carroll County realize what an enviable position you're in the county. You have a future here with landfill, what to do with it. A lot of the counties throughout the state are struggling right at this time, and yet, you know, through your efforts, Cliff, Jeff, you guys have convinced the board here to buy this property, and it really puts us in a totally different position than a lot of places throughout the state of Maryland. So this could be monumental in the future to Carroll County. You know, solid waste is not a romantic topic, but it's one that we have to deal with. And, you know, I think we have to remind people that this is, puts Carroll County in a fantastic position for the future.
I talked to my counterparts as well in other counties. A few of them are very jealous right now.
Yeah.
So again, thank you all very much for seeing the need to move in this direction. It's greatly appreciated. We are being contacted, of course, by organizations who would like to help us out or do things on these properties, including other counties as well.
Yeah, sure.
And we're stressing that this is a longer term, this is a long-term thing. But there will be a time and a place, once we know more, to be able to entertain what those options can be, which is also why we're keeping those in mind as we go forward with the master plan. Like Jeff said, regulations change tomorrow. Things can change dramatically. We want to be prepared. We want to be thinking about it ahead of time, not reacting all the time as many locations do, in order to try to stay ahead of the curve at least a little bit.
I wish to add to the accolades my colleagues have shared, not only to you and the staff members in engineering that you've given thanks to, and expressing the complexity and the long-term vision we have and how difficult it is, especially as Director Castonway mentioned with the not only the state legislative body but the federal. But I also want to share my appreciation to the true unsung hero of this whole process, and that is the landfill manager, Dwight Amos. That man has worked for this county for, I guess, 34, 35
42
years.
years.
How many?
42.
42 years. He has more knowledge on that landfill than all of us combined, and it was thanks to his vision and his concern expressed to not only me but my colleagues the imperative need to do what we're doing now. And I am extending my heartfelt sincerity to not only Mr. Dwight Amos, but all the other individuals out there in that landfill that handle this dirty work for us. They are a vital part of maintaining a civilized society. If we didn't have proper disposal of our waste, we would be in a heap of trouble. So thanks to Dwight and all those other individuals, and especially the ladies out there in the trailer. Thank you for all you're doing.
I'm sure they'll hear, but we'll pass it along as well.
Thank you.
Okay, any other conversation, good update on this? Now let's talk about a potential action you want to take.
Okay. Would you mind, Chris? Okay. As we know, we just reviewed property and what the first steps are required in the development of a master plan. One of the first things that we need to do is, again, the boundary survey. So to facilitate that through engineering, we did solicit and receive a cost for conducting that boundary survey from CLSI. That boundary survey cost would be in the amount of $88,600. Essentially, we're looking at two phases of this project. The first would be along the properties that are along 140, so that would encompass the properties that need to be consolidated, as well as properties that possibly could have future landfill expansion on them. They're also the most open, unwooded, cleared areas that are easier to get to. So that's the first phase. Second phase then would move to the north end of the property, which extends back through the railroad and to the north side of the railroad. Funds for that master plan development and all this related work are included in Capital Project 6540. So at this time, we would ask the board to approve that project for the CLSI.
CLSI, as it says, is an on-call
Yes.
consultant. Do we have other engineering firms that are on-call?
They are an on-call surveyor, a surveying company through engineering services. We don't have any through solid waste on-calls.
No, I mean, but through
they're-
DPW.
We went through a bid process, there was a bid process previously in Public Works, and CLSI won that contract since we don't have a licensed surveyor.
Yep.
So with that, CLSI was the winning contractor
Yeah.
for these services.
So it's an outsourced,
Yes.
consultant. When was that contract put in place, do you remember?
Probably less than 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, when we lost our surveyor.
Okay.
When he retired, he retired.
No,
It
no,
wasn't
no,
lost,
but-
we know where to find him.
No, but,
We know where to find him.
We need a surveyor to look at.
the point is that in order to get things done, we have in-house, we have our own team, but also, resourcing and being efficient, we outsource, some efforts, and CLSI being one of them, so, okay,
Yes.
Correct.
got it.
I move the Board of County Commissioners award the acquired property boundary survey contract to CSLI in the amount of $88,600.
Second.
Can I get a second?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second, any discussion on this?
No, sir.
Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Great, thank you, commissioners.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the work you put into this.
okay, let's talk about a bond sale award.
Commissioners,
Okay, well,
one minute if I could steal 2 more minutes of your time, and I know my 2 minutes usually turn into
That'll
20,
work out.
but I'll keep it at 2. I just wanted to give a quick update on the recycling markets and where we stand. It's been a while since I've reached out to the board and let everybody know. But essentially for November, we're seeing that the recycling commodity markets have kind of leveled off, but leveled off in a good area compared to where we were 18 months ago. Back when that recycling contract was signed, the processing costs, and again, I'm just dealing with the processing here, not the transportation, was costing the county $82 a ton. So it was around $1 million a year based on what our recycling tonnage was. The November cost to the county is $18.21 a ton.
Wow.
So because the international markets have improved, we have cost savings of 77% compared to what it was at the beginning of the contract. Now, again, that's today. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. But going forward, we're hoping that they have stabilized now for quite a while. So when we come back in with our budget discussions, it should be a different number than what we were looking at 18 months ago.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, we're standing by for the bond, so why don't we move into the discussion in a second with North Carroll High School?
if I may, they should be here any minute. They just texted and said that they were just 2 minutes away. So I would expect to see Rob Burke and company walk in any second.
You didn't slow down enough. Any second.
Any.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to start that conversation. We could just pause for a minute.
Why don't we just pause for a second? Hello, Ms. Wong.
Or you could adopt the minutes.
Yeah, you could do open.
Oh, look at you being clever.
Getting hungry.
Okay.
He just wants to get out of here, Fitz.
Okay, we have closed minutes to take a look at and adopt from November 9th,
Just go ahead.
dealing with land acquisition.
Motion to approve the minutes on 11/9 from the closed session.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 4-0 with 1 absence.
That was pretty perfect timing, Mr. Burke.
Very good.
Bear with us one
Sure.
second.
When you're ready.
Just want to make sure I am straight. Commissioner Weaver will be joining us, I imagine, in just a second, but regardless of that, why don't we start? And Mr. Burke, the floor is yours.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. Coming before the board this morning with the results and actions necessary to complete the county's annual bond sale. This morning at 10 a.m., we opened bond bids, and we'll go through them shortly. First, very pleased to share before the board and the public that over the last week or two, following our presentation to the bond rating agencies virtually, we did receive those results, and we were affirmed at AAA by all three rating agencies, by Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. So as we have been for about the last 4 or 5 years, a triple AAA for the county continues to be a feather in the cap for the board, and very pleased and think that that had a positive impact on today's results, and we'll share that a bit more. I'm joined this morning by representatives from our bond counsel firm. Emily Fusting is with us today from McKinnon, Shelton & Henn, and also from the financial advisory firm of Davenport & Company. We have Joe Mason with us, as he has been before the board for many past sales as well. So we did, as I said, advertise, held the sale 10 a.m. this morning. We received 6 bids and had a very favorable result at 1.56% interest cost, slightly up from last year. The markets have moved up just a little, just a bit of an uptick, but still really fantastic rates for the county. $22 million of bonds are scheduled to be issued. These are paying for projects currently underway. Much of it is in the form of reimbursement for projects already spending over the past year, so we'll be spending down the money quickly. A little up from last year, was like 1.34, so just to give you a sense, tweaked up a little bit. The market moving in that direction did cause us to eliminate the refunding potential that we discussed about a month ago when we authorized the sale. The rates moved up just enough to make that savings not possible this time. We will continue to monitor them. Davenport keeps an eye on those for us, and we run those numbers annually to see when there's opportunity to do so. The winner was, apparent winner is J.P. Morgan Securities. So, a large, well-known firm there for us. And with that, I'd like to ask Mr. Mason to brief the board on the results, the context of those rates, and any other comments. Joe?
Great, thank you, Mr. Burke. Good morning, Commissioners, County Administrator. You knocked the cover off the ball. What can I tell you? You often do. You are in rare territory with AAA ratings. That serves you well. Just as importantly, the level of debt that the county issues is relatively modest, which helps you because you don't have a surplus of your bonds trading in the market. So when you come to market, you're a name that everybody wants to own, and there just aren't very many of those opportunities because you are very conservative and diligent about how much debt you do authorize. So rare as hen's teeth, as they say, which translates into good results. Again, 6 bids. The cover bid was from Fidelity Capital Markets, meaning the second place bidder. It was only a half a basis point lower than the true interest cost of the J.P. Morgan Securities bid, which means you really captured the best of today's market. So congratulations all the way around. It's a team effort. Everyone that contributed in past and present to the rating presentations, sitting up on the dais, you've all done a great job representing the county, and the results speak for themselves. So thank you, and again, congratulations.
Personally, I think it was Commissioner Wance's birthday present during that day that we were able to achieve the results.
Anything I can do to help you?
Either that or Commissioner Weaver's just stellar performance, I don't know. But,
How's the deciding factor?
Congratulations, Robin, the entire team, both on the
Very
AAA ratings
pleased.
and everything we're doing. I'll tell you, my experience is measure twice, cut once, and that's what we've been doing, not in a conservative approach. And Yeah, this is great news, you know, so,
Very good.
yeah.
Well, if I may, I see that JP Morgan won the bid, and I see the second bidder was Fidelity Capital Markets. For clarification, would that in any way be connected to the Fidelity Investments firm, or is that a subsidiary of them?
I believe so, yes.
And the reason
They're
I'm-
based out of Boston, so that would
All
lead
right.
me to conclude that.
All I ask is that in the future, if Fidelity Capital Markets ever wins a bid, that you notify me ahead of time, because I would be indirectly invested in that fund and would have to abstain from investing in it. So thank you. I just wanted to give that clarification so I don't see that come up and not know. So thank you.
Okay, any discussion on this? Gentlemen, you've lived this longer than I have, with 4 years from the get-go, getting AAA rating. So we inherited it, but,
Well, I think that was you and me, wasn't it?
It was.
County staff did
Yeah.
a great job on this.
touching each other, man, that's
But,
right.
you know, I've said this before, Joe, to you and your team, we wouldn't be successful without your assistance throughout the adventure. And, you know, you, and remembering Sam, of course, who was instrumental in both you and Sam, you know, pulled me aside a couple times and said, you might not wanna say it that way, let's say it this way. But it was an incredible learning experience for me, and knowing that we have the knowledge of your firm was very good as we moved through that. So kudos to you guys too. As you say, it's a team, but you know, I've lived it quite a few years in my 7 that I've been here, and it's always been impressive. So thank you, sir, and your firm for all that you've done for us as well.
Well, it's very, very, very kind of you, Commissioner Lance. Thank you so much. I
Yep.
will be sure to pass along your thoughts to Sam as well.
Yep,
next time I
please
speak
do.
to him.
I'd just like to echo those thoughts. When we went up to New York, the few times we went up there, I appreciated all the help and guidance we got from you, and really, you guys know what you're doing, you know where to tell us, more or less tell us what to do, when to do it, and that kind of stuff, and it works out very well. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Just thank you guys for making us look good. You really do an excellent job, all of you.
That's a difficult task.
That is a difficult task, but you guys really do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to move the Board of Commissioners adopt the bond sale award resolution as presented by Bond Council.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second, there was a lot of fantastic discussion. Any more? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
absolutely.
If, you know, there's a lot of memories, Joe. I thought we were in big trouble when Doug Howard spilt coffee on that $750,000 board table. But we made out all right. We were good.
You didn't get the triple
Didn't
thing.
get
No, I
that
didn't.
I had to wait another year.
Exactly.
Doghouse.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
belated.
Belated. It was Dennis's too, but not on the
So many
day.
birthdays.
See, I got the day.
You're gonna do something, that's for sure. Okay, Chris, is there any callers for open
Oh,
ed?
no, we have to do
Got
the
it. North
draw high
Carolina.
school discussion.
What's that?
North Carolina.
Oh, I apologize.
Sorry.
I was all excited from that
You,
one.
you wanted to do it before.
No, you're right, I was all excited.
You checked it
That's-
off.
That's fantastic, AAA, fourth
It is.
year, and, you know, folks don't quite understand the impact of that, but that is just awesome.
There are over 3,200 counties in
Yep.
the United States and only about 50
Our
in
triple
the entire
AAA,
United States are triple AAA.
and about 8 or 9 are right here in Maryland, along with Maryland being triple AAA. So, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
the year we got it was, we were ecstatic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, we just
couldn't
were
imagine.
beyond,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because, you know, a lot of folks don't know what goes on behind the scenes as
Mhm.
well to put those presentations together.
Right.
And as the more of you get involved in that, you see that. But
Yep.
it's, you know, I've had the pleasure of being there about 4, maybe, I guess 4 out of my 7. And it was always amazing. But that particular year
Oh,
was,
absolutely.
you know, we were pretty giddy. I gotta tell you, all of us were pretty giddy.
Because I mean, going up to the
It
city.
means a
yeah.
ton.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Because
yeah.
I was in Anne Arundel as economic developer, and we were already triple A, so we weren't getting that, and that impact is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so it's a very complex machine to get there,
Yeah.
and a lot of hard work, so, yeah, fantastic, the entire county. Okay, North Carroll High School, discussion. Preface it, Commissioner Weaver and I participated with, our staff to include, Chris Hine and Jeff Castaway and Roberta. The mayor of Hampstead, along with, the team that, is looking to purchase North Carroll High School, CRG, which is, owned by Jim Lighthizer, and he brought his engineer and his second, who focuses the attention on North Carroll High School. It's gone through some bumps and bruises along the way, to say the least, as far as getting to where we are today. You know, the word albatross is thrown out there, but to me, I continue to say it ain't about an albatross, it's about what this beautiful complex can provide to Carroll County. And the vision that CRG, Jim Lighthizer, has, because he's doing the same thing in Severna Park, is very positive. The challenge is getting from where we are today to where we want to go, and that is to close with CRG by early December. In order to do that, they are requesting, they being CRG, that we change the cost from $1 million to $500,000, and they would then have the ability to close by early December. So it's not extending, because we don't want to extend this, because it just continues to be extended. And they are working with our folks in Land Resource Management, along with MDE, DNR, and Army Corps of Engineers. It is a very much a coordinated effort. And Army Corps of Engineers, the concern is from CRG is that it could take a few months to 6 months. According to our guys, they are confident that it could be done in 30 days to 3 months. So what I found is there's very little distance between Chris Hine and his team. And I'll tell you, he's phenomenal. I don't know if he's listening or not, but him and the engineer from CRG, the distance in understanding the problem set and coming up with a solution. The problem is identified, the solution is needing more money for them to finish and get across the goal line, for them to close early December. Roberta or Commissioner Weaver, did I miss? I just wanted to throw it on out there because I tried to capture it.
You've covered just this. I think the whole issue is, this is a huge project. The only thing is, after the sale, we do have the chance to recoup tax dollars on this down the line, so it's not totally a loss at this point. But yeah, this all these projects that we have inherited have been tremendous. And Steve, you know, you see the problems associated with these, and it's all cost increases right at the present time. Cost overrides for everything, stormwater management, I mean, it just went up. And what requirements were, and I mean, I tell you, Chris's team's on board with it, they're on board with it, everybody knows those cost increases are there. However, we have to move ahead on this, and I'm really taken back, I guess, with the cost of it and what it's doing with us, but it will provide, if this happens over the next 3 years, it's going to be a phenomenal facility for the people of Carroll County.
A couple other just comments I want to make. One is I am confident that CRG does not want to walk away from this, and they want to close early December. They are looking at the cost that they've already put into this and what it will take. The other piece is the market analysis that they're continuing to do. They're confident that the fields will get the the folks coming in on weekends. They're not, I won't say concerned, but are working with the communities at large to get the leagues to come in during the week to offset some of that revenue. And they're not getting that nearly as much as what they thought they were gonna get. But they're not slowing down, they're working with it. They're working with the town as far as what the building will provide and, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a plan forward. I mean, obviously, you hear my enthusiasm. I want to take care of a community that has been waiting for this. And we've been talking about turf fields, and that's what this will also provide. The challenge is it becomes a sucking chest wound when we keep throwing more money at this and keep pushing it to the right. My thoughts are stop pushing to this right, get to the final cost, and get them to move forward. So, and that would be a $500,000 commitment on our part to do just that. So, I will stop.
Sure.
Positive. Maybe. Any thoughts, comments?
So, for me, and you've said something to me, Dick, in reference to me identifying the challenges that we have here. One of the things in the last 7 years has been the challenge of the closures of the schools, which three of us lived through ad nauseum. And I don't know that we really understood at the time what the ramifications were going to be as a result of that. I'd never been through that before, I'll be quite honest. And it's been an uphill challenge ever since it occurred. Difficult decisions have had to have been made along the way.
Financial and emotional.
Right.
Yeah.
That exactly, and that's a very valid point, because we've lived the emotions from the communities that were affected by these, and we have to make those decisions based on that as well, not forgetting that. And I don't know that we ever will forget that. It's going to be a long time, but I appreciate the efforts that most of you gave to me when we identified the challenges of the Charles Carroll site, and I thank you for that. So just with that same thought pattern, there's no doubt that there are challenges. There's no doubt that the pandemic has created issues that none of us would have thought would have been created. And I fear that if we don't make these decisions now, those challenges will grow. MDE is constantly changing their parameters at a level that I don't know that we've seen before. Construction materials are up. Anything is up. It's interesting to me, though, that consumer spending is also up. Figure that one out. But anyway, while I am challenged by the fact that we're going to lose $500,000 on this, I'm also mindful of the fact, Dick, that you point out, that I truly do believe in the end, because of the facility that they are proposing over there, that we will reap the benefits and see that. Now, you might not be able to take a piece of paper and say, oh yeah, yep, we got it back, but I do believe it will pay dividends in the future. So I'm prepared to agree with it, and a lot of it has to do with me again on timing. The more we push back and wait, the more it's going to cost us. And I fear that we get to a point where we get to the point where we say, if we only had done it then. And I don't want to be in that spot. So while I'm challenged by the fact that we're getting less for that, I'm going to go with this if it passes on the positive side with this. Dick, I've got over the moon respect for you, and I know how tough this has been on you. I've lived it in Silver Run, and you lived it even more because you were there and you worked there. and you live there. So I get it, and I wanna put that part of it into it too.
It's not about me, this is about the community.
Yep, so that's my
And I mean the
10-minute
community, not
sermon on that. I told you this morning I wasn't gonna give another sermon, apparently I.
Commissioner Frey, you got comments?
I'll be honest with you, I don't like the deal. I don't like it. However, we need to move forward. I think this is weighting us down, how much we're putting out per month to keep this facility viable, I guess is the best way to call it. And, you know, you gotta cut the grass, you gotta heat it, you gotta do all this. And you gotta do that or it just falls apart. We're putting, what, $50,000 to $70,000 a month or something like that into there. I really don't like the deal, but I don't wanna hold on this and cost us another $700,000 over the next course of a year or something like that. I think that's ridiculous. We're in a bad position, I believe, right now. I think, I'm not gonna go into the factors that put us in this position, because it's past, it's over. And I do think we need to move ahead with it. I can't wait until this closes, so we can stop discussing this and it can get moved on. So if it takes to the beginning of December, and it takes this concession, I don't like it, but I think it has to be done.
And moving forward, one thing they did mention is taking some supplies from Silver Park, because you're talking about construction, taking some supplies and bring them over to North Carroll, like the indoor soccer stuff. So they're already thinking how to get this thing open. Commissioner Boucher?
I'll just sit back and, show my opinion on the vote.
Okay. Okay, I'll make a motion that we move forward with the North Carroll High School as discussed by lessening the, what is it?
But, a motion to amend the contract purchase price from $1 million to $500,000.
A motion to amend the contract from $1 million to $500,000.
Second.
I should have allowed you to make that motion, I apologize. I got a motion, I got a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against.
Okay, 4-1. Did you have an opinion you want to make?
No, sir.
Okay, 4-1.
Thank you.
Okay,
That was a tough vote, I have to say that, it was a tough vote.
Thank you. And I want to express my sincere appreciation to Commissioner Frazier for chiming in on that. That was very courageous of you. Thank you.
Now,
Open
open admin.
admin. Chris, are there any callers?
I have no callers, sir.
Okay, do you have any opinions? No, I'm kidding.
Let's not go there.
We are now in open admin. Does anybody have anything for open admin?
I do have something I would like to bring up. About North Carolina, no, I'm just kidding. I do have something to bring up though. I would like to propose something that I need the board to direct staff to do this. I don't want to do it on my own here. But I would like to direct staff to look at, it's kind of hard to throw this out here, but property tax credits for people that are over 70 that are homeowners in Carroll County. And the property tax credit would be put in place so that once you reach the age 70, you own property in Carroll County, that property tax in effect would actually never go up on you. So you don't have to worry about any increases at the board or somebody, and we can't.
It'd be a cap.
Would be-
Property tax cap.
Well, I was told we can't do that. I was told we can't say 70 and above, can't cap it at this because other people would pay a different rate. Otherwise, I was told that we could look at property tax credits to have the same effect. So that when you're 70, your property taxes, I'm not saying you're not gonna pay them, but if they're not gonna go above that rate because you get some property tax credit to bring it back down to the rate it was when you were 70. So we're not cutting anything out here. I thought Ted was coming in. He's running down the steps right now. But you can't.
Clutching his chest.
And it's, well, if you look at this, unless property taxes are increased, which they may or may not be, it won't cost the county anything to do this. But it will cap what people who are 70 and older are in fixed incomes. Let's fix this price for them. It's gonna be the same year after year because of property, and it has to be worked out. I don't know how it's gonna be worked out, but it has to be worked out. So we have to direct staff to look at this and work it out so that you're 70 or older, you have this on your primary residence only. If you're, of course, not living at that residence, you go into a retirement community or assisted living or whatever it happens to be, it's gone. Of course, if you sell the house, it's gone. But I think it's something that the people who lived in Carroll County for a long time that own property here, it's kind of a break to give them once each, and I picked the age 70 because that's kind of like full Social Security age that we have right now. So all I'm asking for is from direction from the Board of Commissioners, to have staff look at this to see how it could be done. And, you know, they can't actually see how much it would cost because there's nothing, we don't have a thing out there how many 70-year-olds we have that own property. I don't think we could actually find that out.
We
I
have a
don't think so.
census.
Say it again?
We have a census study.
Well, maybe you could look at it, I don't know. But I think.
We wouldn't know how many own property.
Yeah, I just think it's something that we can offer the citizens of Carroll County who've been here for a long time.
I think 70 is arbitrary. I understand
It wasn't.
how you came up with that, but,
It has dartboard.
I just feel like we,
Go ahead.
but not, we could look at 70, but I would, if we move forward with this, I would, ask that we look at other ages as well and the impacts on the other ages. How does this, you know, the assessments of homes are brought in by SDAT, so it's not, you know, our tax rates, I mean, the tax rates are the same. You know, so we're not raising taxes.
Well,
We're
okay.
raising, I mean, and we aren't raising taxes now, we're raising.
You're right.
Say that again?
No,
Okay.
I've probably never said that before, but okay, you're right.
So,
So,
But that's why staff would have to look at this to see how it could be done.
yeah, I just,
so it would be based on the county tax rate,
Right.
not SDAT's assessment.
Yes, because we have control over that part. We do not have control over the assessment.
So if the assessment goes up, you're saying the rate stays there
well, the rate's gonna stay
No,
there.
you,
after
I
70?
think what he's saying is
The
you give them
yield?
credit for the difference.
Oh, the credit.
The tax credit.
Comes back, okay.
And I think I was told that's the only way we could do is with the tax credit.
It's interesting.
Now, we could look at it both ways with the rate and the property tax. We could look at it both ways. I mean,
Yeah.
just, we need staff to have time to look at this, and I'm bringing it up now because I would like it to be looked at before we get to the budget. Because if we can do it, I'd like to try to do it this budget session.
Doing homework to do it, I think, is a great idea. You know, subsidizing a group of folks, you know, and the impact it has, you know, we have to look at that as well. And I'm not, trust me, I'm not against what you're saying. I do think, doing due diligence and it's fair that the homework should be done.
Right, I
So
just
we
want
know-
I want it to be looked at thoroughly,
Okay.
how it could be done, maybe
Sure.
it's, no, we can't do it, it's ridiculous. Just look at that, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, don't say that word.
If-
How about 65?
Well, but I do want to look at different ages.
Yeah, I mean, I
You know.
think, I think it's a good idea on a global look at it. You know, there are tax credits available for different folks in our community that we've never really enacted because while the state said you could, the state always says, yep, that's a great idea, but you guys do it.
Right, exactly.
Of course.
Your name always enabled.
Yeah, so, you know, we deal with that a lot because there's a county or two or three that do the first responder, you know, the retired, military, you know, so that there's some that take it to that step, but I don't know that I've ever heard this group of citizens, and it kinda.
You're looking at what, 50,000 people roughly or something along those lines?
No, it'd have to be less than that.
To be honest with you.
With homes?
Oh, with homes.
Their property,
It has to be
it has to be,
homeownership.
and only their
Homeownership.
their, what's it, primary property. So if you own multiple houses, okay, the one you live in is one that we're talking about.
I think it's a very noble thing to bring up, and I think it shows your character and compassion for our senior population. But from a practical fiscal standpoint, I think it's improbable for us to even pull it off, considering that within just 9 years, a third of our population in this county will be over 60 years old. With that is going to come the expanded services for our senior centers, our senior, all the programs and benefits we have as a county government we provide for them, that has to be financed. On top of that is something I've learned from Commissioner Lance's group in the fire departments is the tremendous stress that our senior population actually is putting on our emergency services. And as our senior population continues to increase, that burden upon our emergency services will exponentially jump. And we're already faced with trying to figure out the conundrum how to finance the takeover of EMS. So though I think it's very noble, I think in a practical sense and fiscal terms, there's no way we could pull it off.
Well, we're just
Well,
looking.
we wouldn't,
Mhm.
we wouldn't know that until we had more
Study that.
concrete, numbers.
It might not be
and how-
possible to do, but
And
it's certainly.
like I said, it's very
one to
noble.
look at it.
And
But I-
besides, if I may, besides the property tax side, there's also the income side. And we mentioned how when people retired on fixed incomes, which means the income side of the equation, which Director Zaleski and his staff is very much aware of, will also be reduced. When someone leaves their career and they're making $100,000 or $120,000 a year and they built this massive home, and I've seen it, I have friends that do it, and then they're paying $10,000 a year in property tax and live in this massive home, and their children are no longer with them, and then they retire and they're on a fixed income, then their expenses for maintaining that property and the tax is exceeding their income level. So we're getting impacted in the sense that those individuals within our population are no longer drawing the income levels they once had. And then we're gonna turn around and reduce the property tax on,
Not, okay, we're not gonna reduce the
or
property tax.
hold it, but
Yes.
on the long term, it degenerates on us. Like if we hold
Yeah,
the yield.
it could. It
But our
depends on if the
expenses
property
will
taxes
keep
go
going.
up.
So it's a real big conundrum to try to crack, and though I think it's noble, I think in practical fiscal terms, there's no way we could pull it off.
I mean, the question has to do with how much do we want to accept subsidizing the population? And what is the impact of that subsidy? And the only way we're gonna know that, is by doing the homework.
That's a great summation, thank you. That's a wonderful discussion, I'm glad you brought it up, because I think we've all seen the emails from our constituents that have this concern. Because like I mentioned, that population is growing, and we're seeing those people planning for their retirement, and this is a big thing they're concerned about.
Okay, sounds like the board's interested, so we'll.
Yeah, I think it,
Sounds like there's some
I think it
homework to be
warrants
done.
some additional
Yeah.
look into it.
We do. Okay, anything else for open admin?
Yeah, I've got a list of things.
I had to get in before you because
Yeah, I
had 3
know.
pages.
So, I sent this, email out to whoever, I don't remember who, but, Johnny Olszewski Senior, contacted me, a couple weeks ago. And he works for, somebody, anyway, doesn't matter. There's a large solar, rooftop, display that's been created in Hampstead, apparently on a building that Penguin Random House is leasing. I think it's the old Cup property. So, it's being billed as the largest rooftop community solar project in the country. I didn't say state or county, I said country.
It's a million square foot.
Sometimes people don't hear me right. Country.
He's insinuating this on his board.
It's Summit Ridge Energy's project. They're having a ribbon cutting on Tuesday, November the 30th at 11 a.m. at the location 630 Hanover Pike. I believe it's necessary for Carroll County to be represented by not only electeds, but those perhaps staff members that would want to be there as well. They've got a agenda already put together, but I think just to have the folks standing there to be recognized would be very important. Mary Beth Tung from the Director of Energy Administration, I got emergency, Energy Administration of the Governor's Office will be there, and I think we should be there. So, putting it on radar, Tuesday, November the 30th at 11 a.m., 6:30 Hanover Pike.
Well, just have it added to our calendars. We
Yeah.
don't have to write it down right now.
Yeah.
I certainly want to be there,
Yeah.
because I heard you're doing with plastic bags.
We'll talk about it in the.
Yeah, I do.
So let me know who's going. I told J.O. that I'd reach back out to him and let him know who's going to be there, so that the proper individuals can be introduced. And certainly, if somebody walks up that day, they'd be able to do that as well.
Right.
So that's quite impressive, and another feather in the Carroll County
What
cap.
is interesting is we weren't aware. I
Yeah.
mean, it's private business, and I get
I
it,
know.
but this is huge.
Yeah, this is
It is.
that's a big deal.
Hugest in the country.
Someone, you may wanna call them in, I don't know if they're aware either, if they didn't contact us, they may not have contacted. Now, it's actually not in Hampstead, this building is not in the town,
Right.
but it's right next door.
It's
I mean,
right-
you
yeah.
can't, you could throw a stone to the town.
It has
I'd rather
Hampstead
throw a
Wharf.
stone on him, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So,
So I'll give you this paperwork, Dick, if you wanna reach out to Chris.
Yeah, okay.
All right? Okay, that's number one. Number two, I had an interesting phone call as a result of one of the fires. As always, Chris Hine in his shop took it, ran with it, and I think it's been taken care of. It appears as if it is. But just something to put on your radars, if you will. You know, we recently talked about this PFAS issue where, you know, this is a huge deal, even though apparently folks have been putting it on their lips and on their face for years.
Right.
But now that it's in the water, it's like a big deal. But there was a fire in Tyrone the other day, in the thriving metropolis of Tyrone.
Downtown.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a concerned neighbor that called about runoff from that fire. So it's interesting. It was identified that we don't believe that there was any hazardous materials, even though it was a maintenance type business that resulted in the suppression. And they think whatever would have been contained. So it's just, again, Chris had his folks go out, look at it. We think it's been mitigated. So, but just something to keep on your radar, because in my 46 years, I don't know that I've ever had that, with the exception of huge hazmat-related incidents that occur. This was your typical combustible storage area fire. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up. One of the meetings that I missed that I had this week, out of the 15 I think I'm up to, was a meeting with the Sheriff's Department in reference to an Ethiopian church that's up on Bachman Valley Road. Not sure why my district, and Sheriff DeWeese was excellent. We didn't know who was coming to this meeting, but at the appropriate time that the meeting was to start, 7 of the representatives from the Ethiopian church, including the high priest, walked into the room. It was incredibly interesting to hear their story. The Sheriff DeWeese at one point pushed his chair back and said, "Why Carroll County?" And they had some interesting explanations. I'm not going to get into all that, but my point is, this is the second type of facility like this that I have in my district. I have one just above the Union Mills Homestead church that was created there. We are taking the appropriate action. The reason it came up is because they have 2 high holy days, one in June and one in October, where they attract around 2,000 to 3,000 people. And 2,000 to 3,000 people on Bachman's Valley Road can be very interesting, especially considering the fact that many of these folks are coming from all over the country.
Don't they bus them in?
There was some of that, yes.
Yeah.
So
Also,
this,
they had 600 cars parked there.
yeah.
too.
So it was an excellent meeting. We met the people there that run the church. They are in the permitting process. Chris Hine was there with me at that meeting. So they're gonna be looking at building more and more up there, but just making you aware that a facility of that nature that brings in a lot of people into rural District 1 is incredibly interesting.
They're not gonna be shooting cannons, are they?
So I didn't get that sense, no.
Our biggest
So-
issue, I think Steve and I both get calls on, is the noise ordinance and the time.
Right.
It's like a music festival too, you know, as you worship, they have the bands and stuff.
It goes on, it's going on way
Yeah, it was,
early in the morning.
yeah, it was like a
issues.
12 or 14-hour ceremony.
Yeah, and you put
I got you. So there's a
2,000 people.
potential of the disturbance of the peace, so to speak, you know, the sound ordinance.
as well as the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic was,
It just,
yeah. So anyway, I've already been advised that there are going to be several folks from that community at my community meeting. So I'm gonna have appropriate staff there to address that because it's an interesting topic of discussion. And mainly, you know, we all need to get along, and that's what it is. And we were very impressed in the way in which they presented what they are trying to do. So we'll see where we go there. So again, that reminder, November the 30th at 7 p.m. at Pleasant Valley Fire Department. Join me for my community meeting there. And finally, the last one I have is another shameless plug. On November the 29th, the Westminster Municipal Band will be doing their holiday concert. Typically, it's at Carroll Arts Center. This year, it's at Carroll Community College. So anyone that would like to come out and get into the spirit right after you've had too much turkey, come out on the 29th.
What time?
7 p.m. at Carroll
In
Community
the
College,
amphitheater.
and it is a free concert in
Scott Muller.
not the, no, sit outside, Weaver.
Are you working, marching in the Miracle on Main parade?
Yes.
You did mention it, that's.
Yeah, that's coming up too. Yeah, that's December the something.
No, that's the end of November.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there's that.
Sounds like it's this weekend.
No, it's not
No,
this weekend.
no, it's not.
The
Hampstead Town Tree Lighting,
Next.
this is Friday night.
I think
Next
it's next weekend,
Yeah, it might be next week. Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
right.
This
I
is not
forgot
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
No, it's not Thursday.
I'm already weak.
And then we haven't said anything about it, but finally, that our tree lighting is on December the 6th,
Monday.
Right.
which is the following Monday, and we'll be outside. So we always like to have folks come by for that.
Well, before we leave that topic, I wanted to ask the board, last year, because of COVID, we changed at the last minute and technically did not invite the public to the meeting, even though it's outdoors and everything, we just did the whole abundance of caution idea. Is there any thought of trying to exclude the public this year,
No.
or should we welcome everyone?
No.
Just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
Share the festivities.
Okay. Just wanna make sure. Thanks.
Okay,
All right, I think that's it.
are you sure?
I think.
Okay. Commissioner Weaver, anything for open admin? Commissioner Boucher?
Well, I'd like a motion that the Carroll County Board of Commissioners not enforce any form of mask or vaccine mandate upon our county employees unless or until the United States Supreme Court rules on said subject.
The Supreme Court may never rule on it.
All right,
It
or-
doesn't have to get.
Or an
specific.
inferior court, it's in the federal court system.
Regardless.
I just wanna make sure
That's,
that's.
thank you.
Okay, I got a motion. Is there a second? Hearing none, motion fails. Okay, anything else? Did you have discussion? I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Let me know on the solar thing.
yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna, that's what we did. Come on up, let's talk about agendas. And then we will go into close for land acquisition. And then Mr. Burke will have his lunch. So,
He's treating.
agendas. I'm getting there. Monday, November 22nd. Maryland Sustainable Growth Awards virtual, I will be attending. Okay. Commissioner Weaver will be attending the Founder's Day celebration at Gerstel Academy in the morning on Tuesday, November 23rd. At
25 years of existence now.
That's amazing.
At 10 a.m., Commissioner Wance will be attending the GMAC, which is Governor's Emergency Management Advisory Council. And then at 1 p.m., there will be a joint meeting with the Mount Airy officials regarding the Harrison Leisure, Harrison Leisure property. All 5 of us will be attending, and that will be done at Mount Airy Town Hall. Wednesday, we have nothing. Thursday, we are closed for Thanksgiving, along with Friday, closed for Thanksgiving. Commissioner Wance will be providing the podcast on Sunday morning, and then at 2 p.m., Commissioner Wance is conducting a Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Tyler Deskowitz. On Monday, November 29th, nothing. Commissioner Wance has said at least 17 times about his community meeting.
Now it's 18.
18, at 7 p.m. at the Pleasant Valley Fire Social Hall. Has that social hall been upgraded? Just, okay. And it is an upgraded social hall, so, on Wednesday, there will be a planning commission at 6 p.m. Commissioner Wentz will be attending.
I believe that one's been canceled. We'll have to check, but I don't believe they had anything for the agenda. But I think I got notice on that it would not be taking place, so.
I apologize, on, November 30th, that's the ribbon cutting, right, for the, solar?
Correct. That's all, yeah.
So
November
that's at
30th.
November 30th at 11 o'clock up in Hampstead. The specifics will be provided. I will be attending that
I'll
along
be
with
there.
Commissioner Frazier and Commissioner Wance, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
And Commissioner Weavers, Commissioner Boucher, you attending?
Which event are we looking at here?
The solar ribbon
Yes,
cut.
I got confused with the social hall. Yeah, I'll attend that.
Okay, so all 5 of us will be attending. On Thursday, we go into closed on December 2nd. Open at 9. We'll talk water and sewer fall amendment. Oh, okay, after a public hearing, I
That's the
guess.
public hearing.
Right. I assume that is the public hearing.
Right.
Citizens UB Solar, LLC, and annexation. Not sure what that's gonna be about, but that's all right.
I think it's in Union Bridge. I
So-
think they're annexing Union Bridge wants to annex property.
Citizens of Union Bridge, okay.
No,
Yeah.
the name of the company is Citizens UV Solar.
Okay.
But it's in Union Bridge, they wanna annex property.
Got it, okay, thank you. Public hearing for college pass fare increase. We'll have, solid waste funding discussion with Mr. Casaway. I think he's gonna be participating a lot this morning. Purchase of one Sturgill Coney lift. Looking forward to hearing all about that. And then Mr. Hine will be talking to us about stormwater review, contract. And then about an approval or requesting approval for a grant application acceptance and award for the Brynwood Stream restoration. And then, if he's continuing to be lucky, he'll request an approval and get a grant application acceptance and award for Willow Pond tree planting. Okay. On Friday,
And then the afternoon, just, it's sort of stuck down here,
Oh.
you'll have at 1 p.m. you have a discussion amongst the board about the residential tax.
okay, so the impact from the public comments today, this afternoon, this evening, we will have, as a Board of Commissioners, the residential text and map discussion. Thank you. And that will be an open session. On Friday, Carroll County Realtors luncheon, I will be attending. And
Yeah,
then
put me down for that as well.
along with Commissioner Frazier. And then there'll be a grand opening at the Harveston Natural Town Mall. Commissioner Frazier will be attending. Sunday, Commissioner Frazier has the podcast. Okay.
If I may, I want to add, I will attend the Realtor luncheon as well. It's just they don't have a location yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
it's usually in Westminster.
What's that?
I'm gonna say it's usually in Westminster, but I'm not positive where
A
it
lot of
is.
times it's over at
Maggie's.
Maggie's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maggie's or,
I've been known to show up
yeah,
at the wrong
upstairs.
location
yes,
too.
yeah, upstairs.
Or Joe Hanson's upstairs.
Yeah.
Been there too. Okay, is that it for,
That's it, I
agenda?
just
Now
need
let's
to-
talk, let's go into,
I make a motion,
go ahead.
motion to go into close for land acquisition. Is that right?
Okay, I got a motion and a second to go into close for land acquisition. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recess after that until 1 o'clock.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to recess after that till 1 PM for public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.